Good evening, everyone. Hello and welcome along to the Sports Corner Live. We are back. That's right. It is time for some darts. It has felt like a very long 2 weeks. I'm not going to lie. It's felt like a very, very long 2 weeks since we were sat here talking about the Premier League of Darts. But we're back once again. We've got 3 nights of action, so it is a much shorter week than it has been over these last few evenings in the Premier League. But look, hopefully we've got 3 nights of fantastic entertainment to come. Because more importantly, it is the final 3 nights, fingers crossed, touch wood, where we don't have fans at the stadium. Because we know, and I don't know if you've heard the news, if you haven't heard the news, we have fans back in the stadium soon for the final week of Premier League of Darts action. So we will have fans back, which is fantastic news, and it is kind of getting to that point now where I feel like we did need fans back, but at the same time, it's going to be great to have them there, and ultimately it could change up the entire complexion of the Premier League. But I tell you something, what a week we've got to come. 3 nights of brilliant action. Really, really good games to come over every night. And as we know already, for those of you that maybe missed the previous night's action, we already have 2 players out of the competition. We had Judgment Night, which wasn't really Judgment Night, if we're being honest with you. We know who was out of the competition before we'd even got to that night. But we did lose Rob Cross and Glen Durrant, which therefore means we are down to the last 8 players in the Premier League, which we will talk about in a little moment's time. But as we always have done on the stream, let's take a look back at all the action which took place 2 weeks ago on night number 9. That was Judgment Night. It's been quite a while since then. Here's what happened over the last 5 games of night 9. As always, it's night number 10 of the Premier League of Darts, which means we have had a 2-week break in between our last game and our current evening of action. So you might have forgot what happened in the previous night's action in the Premier League of Darts. So we're going to go over that now and look at the results of the previous 2 weeks. And we start off with the game where both players were already eliminated from the Premier League, and it was Rob Cross who came out with a 7-5 victory over Glen Durrant. Now, funnily enough, this game actually provided Rob Cross as the highest player with the biggest leg difference to be relegated from the Premier League of Darts in history, while Glen Durrant, who did lose of course, now becomes the first ever player to lose in the Premier League and come out with 0 points. And Rob Cross, he really curtailed off at the end of the Premier League season for himself, especially in the last few games of the final week before Judgment Night. But in the end, he came up with a 7-5 victory, and hopefully he has the confidence to continue in future Super Series and of course in Blackpool in July. Game number 2 of the night saw Johnny Clayton beat Michael van Gerwen 7-3, and it was a pretty good game for Johnny Clayton, you have to admit. And it'd been a pretty shaky week for the Ferret. You know, some games he'd won, some games he'd lost, which I thought he could have picked up points in. But this game against MVG really has set the pace for the rest of the season for the Ferret. And he averaged 100.25 in this game, only with a 38.89% checkout success. But in comparison, Michael van Gerwen struggled massively, and it was a really, really bad game for him. He got a 91.01 average with a 33.33 checkout success. That's 3 out of 9 opportunities taken at doubles. And I'll tell you something, if you have been watching the Super Series this week, Michael van Gerwen is in a lot of trouble. The real question is, can he turn it around this week? Or will that confidence for Johnny Clayton excel him, maybe even into the top 4 and maybe to the top of the table? We'll have to find out. And talking of players who are lacking confidence, Gary Anderson could have found himself in a position had things gone a little differently where he could have been relegated from the Premier League of Darts. But he's safe for now. He's going to be in the competition until the very end of the group stages at the very least. But he has been struggling massively. As for Nathan Aspinall, wallow in for him, 7-2 victory in which the Asp averaged 102.45 with a 63.64% checkout success. That's 7 out of 11 opportunities taken at double. And Aspinall is playing incredibly well. You know, I said on night 4 that he was 14-1 to win the tournament. His odds have been slashed massively. However, Gary Anderson, who probably night 4 and night 5 was in the, I wouldn't say he was in the top 4, but he was around the top 4, now finds himself at the bottom end of the table. He needs to pick up results, Anderson, and quick, or else he could face himself pretty much being knocked out of the competition before we even made it to the final few nights.
In what was arguably the best game of the night, Jose de Sousa found himself in another high-octane match. You know, let's not forget the night before, he actually got himself into a game with MVG where there was 14 180s, and this game had 14 180s as well in a 6-6 draw against Peter Wright. And Jose de Sousa, he found himself in a very back and forth game. You know, he averaged 101.23 with a 46.15% checkout success. That's 6 out of 13 at doubles. And for a large part of the game, he was actually losing. You know, Peter Wright played very well in this match, and when you actually look at the stats at the end of the game, we know what cost Peter Wright. It was the 24% on checkouts. That's 6 out of 25 at doubles. He really could not get the doubles on the night, and that was his problem, which eventually allowed Jose de Sousa back into the game. And I'm really intrigued to see how these two do for the rest of the tournament. I think Peter Wright has struggled, but now he's safe and comfortable. Could we maybe see the return of the Wright? We'll have to see in the rest of the Premier League of darts. And finally, the last game in night number 9. What a game this was as well, between Dimitri Vandenberg and James Wade. It was a 6-6 draw in the end. Another game which was really back and forth for large parts of it. Dimitri Vandenberg averaged 97.96 with a 75% checkout success. That's 6 out of 8 at doubles. Really good performance from him. And ultimately, he's sat towards the top end of the table. I do think we're going to see Dimitri in the top 4 by the end of this tournament. However, James Wade, what a week it was for the machine. He was a machine. He was built like a machine. He was putting in some incredible performances. And it was the 4th game in a row in which James Wade averaged over 100. In fact, he averaged 102.93 in this game, and he averaged 104 in 2 other games, with 105 being his best average of the week. But with a 66.67% checkout success, it ultimately picked up James Wade a draw. And I am very interested to see how James Wade does for the rest of the week. And I'm very interested to see how everybody else does. It's a really, really tough Premier League. And with only 3 nights to come, it's going to be a very, very quick week overall. But who's going to pick up points by the end of the week in the Premier League of darts? Let's find out.
So it feels like a long time ago, doesn't it, since we sat there about 2 weeks ago, was it? Maybe a little bit more than that. When we did talk about those games, it was an okay night of action. I don't think it was the most amazing affair. It wasn't a judgment night to remember because we already know who was relegated by that point. But look, we're down to the last 8 players, and we will talk about the table and all the little stuffs in between in just a moment's time. But don't forget, we are still doing our Sports Corner Super 6 over the next week, which you can take part in. I'm going to give you guys till 7:30 tonight to put your predictions in. All you've got to do is put your exact scores for the 4 games tonight. That's Clayton taking on Wade, De Sousa up against Gary Anderson, Dimitri Vandenberg up against Michael van Gerwen, and Peter Wright against Nathan Aspinall. You then also need to put how many 180s you think there's going to be in the session and the highest checkout of the night. The prize pot for every single night is going to be 25 quid. So every night 25 quid is going to be on the line. If you want to take part, please make sure you are subscribed to the channel, because if you are not subscribed, I will be checking, then you will not win the prize. So if you want to take part in it, then do put your predictions in the chat. I will be looking back at the end of the stream to check who has got the prediction correct. If nobody hasn't, then of course tomorrow we continue on with the prize pot at 25 quid. It's not going to go up like we did before. We're just going to keep it at 25 quid every single night, so you guys can take part with a decent cash prize on the line. So if you want to take part, once again, put the 4 exact scores in tonight. Do not put who you think is going to win. Put the scores, how many 180s they think you're going to be in the session, and the highest checkout of the night. That's all you've got to do. You've got 15 minutes. I will keep, of course, repeating it just to make sure that anybody who does jump in the stream in the next 10 minutes or so has a chance to get involved. But the quicker you put it in, the better, because then you will be in there. Or else at 7:30, I will be shutting it off and closing it off tonight for the rest of the people. So we've already got a few entries in the building. Very best of luck to you guys on that. But, of course, more importantly, we need to talk about how the table is looking, because it is looking a little bit different. Now the bottom 2 are eliminated. We are down to our final 8 players. And most importantly, it is all going to be about who makes the top 4 in the next couple of weeks for semi-finals and finals night, which is on the 28th of May. And as it stands, the top 4, Nathan Aspinall at the top of the table on legs difference after a massive win with Dimitri Vandenberg drawing his last game. Michael van Gerwen currently sat in 3rd, which is quite surprising considering how poor he's been in recent weeks, not just in the Premier League. We'll talk about that in a little moment's time. And then a player who has been on pretty good form, especially last week. I don't think he actually lost. Well, he lost one game in the week, but otherwise he played fantastically well, averaging over 100 for the entirety of last week. That is James Wade. He stays in the top 4 as it stands, but this next game this evening could change that completely because he is facing Johnny Clayton, who currently finds himself sat in 5th place on the same points with an inferior legs difference. However, if James Wade was to lose this game tonight by a couple of legs, then potentially there is this chance that we could see Johnny Clayton jump into the back into the top 4, into this early section of the night. Jose de Sousa, he's on 9 points. Peter Wright also on 9 points with a -1 leg difference. And then Gary Anderson, who really, really needs a result on the board tonight, or else he is going to find himself potentially running the risk of maybe being knocked out of the competition quite early. So that is how the table is looking. First game of the night, of course, as you can see, we spoke about it a moment ago, Johnny Clayton taking on James Wade. And for those of you that don't know as well, maybe you're new and you've never participated or watched the Premier League before, and maybe this is your first ever time watching it, because we are now down to 8 players, it means we also get another 2 extra legs on the board. So rather than it being best of 12, it is now best of 14, which basically means it is a first to 8 legs, or it could be a 7-7 draw. So that is how it's going to work tonight. First of all, I'm going to have a look at what you guys have been saying in the comments, because we've got through all the pleasantries at the beginning, as we always do. So it's time to talk to you guys and see how you're all doing, of course. Chris in the building, hope you're all good as always, mate. He's put, hi, mate, hope you're well. And then he's also put, for those who don't know, it is now best of 14 legs. As I said before, it can end 8-6 or 7-7. Daz is in the building as well. Good evening, Josh. How are you doing today? I'm doing very fantastic. Hope you are good as always, Daz. He has, of course, put his predictions in the chat as well. He thinks tonight we're going to get a 170 checkout with Clayton, De Sousa, MVG and Wright all winning 15 180s. So interesting prediction there from Daz, which I will come back to in a second. Chloe, she's in the building as well. How are you doing, Chloe? Hope you're all good as always. She's going to think for it tonight to make sure her prediction is spot on. Do not blame you. You've got 15 minutes to put your predictions in. And then Chris has also put his in. He put them on Twitter earlier. Thank you very much, Chris, as always. He thinks Clayton, De Sousa, Vandenberg, Van Gerwen and Aspinall all win tonight with 135 highest checkout and 35 180s I think he's going for. So quite a lot of 180s he's expecting tonight, which is very interesting indeed. And as I have said before, you can still put your predictions in the chat while this game is going on. You have got till 7:30 to put your predictions in for a chance to win 25 quid. All you've got to do is put the exact scores for these 4 games tonight, as well as how many 180s you think there's going to be in the session, and how many the highest checkout of the night. That will get you 25 quid if so. I wonder if I can make the image a little bit smaller and maybe just put it on the screen for a second. Yeah, there we go. I don't know if you can see that, but just for the case of time, if I put that there for now, if anybody does jump in the stream, then they can see it on the right-hand side there. I'll make the picture bigger, of course, as we go along. But we're underway with the first game of the evening, and it feels very eerily quiet. And I don't know why. They haven't got the crowd sound on today, or at least for the very start, which I don't mind. I think it's better without it, and maybe it's a case that they've said not to put the sound on. But Johnny Clayton here with a chance to check out 64. He doesn't. So James Wade is going to be coming back here at 86. Gets treble 18, so he's got 2 darts at double 16 to take the lead, which he does. And it's a 1-0 lead for James Wade in this game. And it's good to see our good friend Devon Peterson on commentary tonight. Go on, Dev. Love to see it. Hopefully he has a very enjoyable night. Of course, getting the experience in the commentary position, which is fantastic to see. And Chris says, make the picture bigger. Let me see if I can make it a tad bigger. Super 6. I'm wondering where to put it, where it's in a better position. I mean, it'll look quite odd for a bit, but if I sit like this, there we go. For now, we'll leave it up. And I'm thinking, I'll tell you as well, let me get Snaz up. And I'll also put a timer on. So do give me 2 seconds here. Going with the flow tonight. And the ref tonight is not Russ Bray. I think it's... I can't remember the name of him. I'm not going to lie, but it's not Russ Bray tonight. If somebody knows who the name of the ref is, then put it in the chat, because Dazzy's asking who the referee is tonight. But give me 2 seconds here, because what I am going to very quickly do... Let me just jump over 2 seconds.
Coming up this week on the Sports Corner, Chelsea take on Real Madrid tonight. So if you do want to watch that, you can, of course, join Rowan, who'll be live at 7:55 on the Sports Corner.
We'll jump
back tomorrow and...
Just like that, nice and easy. Boom. Right, so what I want to do is very quickly just put a countdown timer on. So I can roughly give you guys about 10 minutes to see if you want to get your predictions in, which I will just do now. So apologies about that. But chance here maybe for a 150 checkout, and Johnny Clayton does it. And what a checkout there from Johnny Clayton. A 150 on the board. That is absolutely brilliant from Johnny Clayton to start the evening. And you have got 9 minutes to put your predictions in the chat for tonight's Super 6. For those of you maybe just joining, you can see on the right-hand side, if you do want to take part, that is pretty much how much time you've got left. I'll start the timer in a second, so it's on the screen while the game's going on. But what a checkout there, a 150 from Johnny Clayton to make it 1-1 in this game. A fantastic start indeed. And, oh, they have got crowd noise on tonight, but I don't know whether it's just me or not. Does it feel really quiet for anyone else? It feels really, really quiet, and I don't know why. Maybe it's a good thing for it to be a little bit quiet, but yeah, we've got basically about 8 minutes on the clock. I'll put 8 minutes and 30 seconds. So that's how long you've got left to put in your predictions tonight. If you want to get involved, there's the countdown timer. Let me just move that. Oh, it's showing 2 up. Why is it showing 2? Let me get rid of that one. There we go. I actually still had it on the screen anyway. I'm kind of just going with the flow tonight. There we go. Let me make that a little bit smaller. I'm moving stuff now. It's really awkward when it's trying to tick down. But what a start for Johnny Clayton with the 150. There we go. That's how long you've got left for the Super 6. 8 minutes left. And a chance for the first 180 of the night, which is not going to be hit. But a chance here for a 136 checkout from Johnny Clayton. He's got 88 for a 136, which he doesn't get. And it's not Kurt Bevins tonight. It's not Kurt Bevins. I can't remember the name of him. I can't remember what his name is. But chance here for James Wade on a 121. Double 14. Oh, that's brilliant from James Wade. A 121 checkout for James Wade. And that is the perfect start to this game. And if you're wondering why, we've got a timer going on right now. 7 minutes. Super 6. Put your predictions in the chat. The 4 exact scores. There we go. That's how you do it. How many 180s do you think there's going to be in the whole session? And then the highest checkout of the night. Put those in the chat. You've got 7 minutes for a chance to win 25 quid. We're doing that every single night of the Premier League of Darts this week. So do get involved, because it is good fun. And who knows? You might even win a little bit of cash tonight. But good start to this game for Johnny Clayton. Averaging 100. And James Wade, who's only averaging 90 right now, is in the lead of this game. But I do think, specifically speaking, I have to say I think James Wade is one of the only players out there who could average under a 90 and still get himself a few points on the board, as we have the first 180 of the night. And because we haven't actually got the referee's 180 sound, Paul Hinks will have to do for now. But we do get the first 180 of the evening, which goes to Johnny Clayton. And hopefully, he sets the tone for this game. And as I said before, it's very easy, I think, in James Wade's world, to average around about the 90 or the 95 mark and go out there and get himself a few points and legs on the board. But he's a very, very good player when it comes to checkouts. And ultimately, you've got to be on the top of your game here, as there's a chance with 3 darts in hand for Johnny Clayton to check out double 8s, which he doesn't. And eventually, James Wade has now got a chance to check out 52, which he's got. And it's 3-1 to James Wade. And a brilliant start here for Wade, who has played really decent, I think, is probably the best way to put it. Not a great game for him, but when a man like James Wade is basically given chances to check out, he's always going to check out, isn't he? You know what he's like. He's a very, very good player when it comes to finishing ton pluses and things like that. And ultimately, James Wade in this early section of the match is making Johnny Clayton pay. And he's got to do something, and fast, Clayton, because he's averaging 103. And he's got a chance for a 180 here, which he does get. That's 2 180s on the board. You've got 5 minutes left to put in your Super 6 predictions. I know Whaddon thinks he's going to predict this game to finish 7-7. If you do want to get involved, Whaddon, in the Super 6, then get involved. You've got 5 minutes left to put your predictions in before we close it off. £25 is on the line every single night this week. All you've got to do is predict the exact scores for the 4 games, 180s, and the highest checkout of the night, and you will be involved with it. But Chris has asked, did you pack any tops today? I packed Diaz and 2 Benegas. No, I did the guaranteed pack. I got Gundogan, which I'm quite happy about because he actually fits my team. But I haven't actually opened any more packs. I'll be saving them for Monday for the next league and the next mini league. So I've got a nice week to just start making more packs again. I'm nearly up to about 50 already, so I'm quite happy with that. But James Whittier, chance for a 180, which he doesn't get. Gets 120, and I think he would have got a 180 there had his last start not fallen out of the board. But chance here at double 12. Now double 6 for Johnny Clayton, which he does get. And it's 3-2 in this game. And Johnny Clayton gets himself a leg away from the machine. And that is a very, very important leg indeed. Because I think had James Wade maybe got a leg ahead there and gone, 4-1 up, Johnny Clayton would have been a little bit worried. Even on a 105 average, he would have been very, very worried at the fact that James Wade is an absolute machine when it comes to checking out. But we've got 3 more minutes left of the Super 6 for you guys. Chance for James Wade to get a 180, which he doesn't. Gets a 140 instead. But maybe a chance here for Johnny Clayton to get his own 180, which he doesn't. Gets a 140. So James Wade down to 301. Johnny Clayton down to 301 as well. Both players very even in this early section of the match. And then Daz has asked, have I got any bets tonight? Yes, I do. I have got bets on tonight. I've got 2 bets. One of the bets was every player to hit 3 180s. It was 1,000 plus checkouts on the night, which I don't think is going to happen. An MVG in both Clayton to win. That was a punt bet tonight. I punted on that. That was 250 to 1. I put £2.50 on it. And then another punt bet tonight. I put James Wade, Jose de Sousa and Aspinall match treble. That would be losing as it stands because James Wade hasn't hit a 180 yet. And he also doesn't have the highest checkout of the night. So looks like both are on course to lose already, which would be a shame. But I think probably every night I'll have punt bets. And go for like an outlandish bet and see if it comes in or not. But if James Wade loses, but Johnny Clayton wins, then that's great. But I need James Wade to start hitting 180s in quick. So chance here for a 134. Treble 18. So 2 darts. Both needed at tops, which he gets. And that's brilliant from Johnny Clayton. A 134 checkout. Treble 18 and 2 darts at double tops. And the ferret is right back into this game. And that is now 3 100 plus checkouts on the night. And Marco, you need to put in your predictions for all 4 games if you want to get involved. It's not just this game. It needs to be all 4 games. How many 180s in the whole session? And then the highest checkout of the night. And that will get you involved in the Super 6. You have got, what, about a minute left to get involved? And then we'll be closing off for the night. So if you do want to get involved, then please do. As we have another 180 on the board. And this time it's for Johnny Clayton, who is, I think, 3 180s now for the ferret. Still none for James Wade, who has probably not had his greatest game here, has he? You know, let's not forget, in his last 4 matches, he was averaging well over 100. As Johnny Clayton hits another 180. That means he's down to 60 here. And a chance for the ferret to move into the lead 4-3 in this game. Chris saying, even if I lose Super 6, still got my 9 darter Vandenberg bet, as always. Hey, who knows? Let's hope it comes in at some point. As Chloe has put her prediction in, you have got 20 seconds left. If there's any more like last-minute ones, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt to give you a minute or two. But for those of you who want to get involved, you have got a few seconds left. I'll say one final time, and then that is it. You need to put the predictions in for the 4 exact scores of tonight's games. How many 180s in the whole session, and the highest checkout of the night. And you must be subscribed to the channel to win, or else you will not be able to claim the prize. That is all for Super 6. Thank you very much for those of you that have participated. And the very best of luck. I will be keeping my eye out tonight to see how you're all doing. I think the closest we've had was Daz, who I think last week made it to the 4th game of the night, but ultimately didn't win in the end. Had a very good run, but ultimately he didn't. As Albertus has put his prediction in the chat, I will let you. Well and truly on time. And very best of luck, Albertus. He thinks Wade's going to win. Anderson's going to win. Vandenberg and Wright to win. He also thinks that the highest checkout of the night is going to be a 1-4-4 with the sudden death score of 180s at 20. So thank you very much, Albertus. Hopefully, you can get yourself a win tonight. We will have to see. But 4-3 in this game. Johnny Clayton, 4 legs up to James Wade's 3. And James Wade might be on course here for his first 180 of the game, which he gets. And that is the first one of the evening. And Marco, if you do want to put yours in, I'll let you in, because you did put a prediction in early. So you're still allowed in, my friend. I will let you on that one, because you did put your prediction in. But Daz has he's put Clayton to win tonight, De Sousa to win, and MVG and Wright to win. That's a £1 ACCA, £16 back. And then he's got Clayton, De Sousa, MVG all to win £1, £8.50 back if it wins. I think the only problem is with doing like the lower bets is obviously just the return. I think like for a £1 bet to get £8 back for 3 results to go your way, it's not the greatest, is it? But I think as well, it just shows how even it is in terms of bets and betting on darts. You know, it's very, very hard to tell who's going to win these games. And I think when you actually look at all 4 games tonight, I think probably the easiest one to guess would probably be De Sousa Anderson, because most people will back De Sousa. Van Gerwen, Vandenberg, I think most people will back Dimitri, but you never know with MVG what he can do. So they're all tough games to guess. But for the bookies, going to make some cash quite easy tonight, I think. But we're at 4-4 here. James Wade at 3-2-1. Clayton at 206. And then Marco's put his predictions in. Best of luck, my friend. Thank you very much, Marco. Hopefully, we do get a winner tonight. Or else I'm going to be keeping the cash in my back pocket, which I'll not be complaining about. But it'd be nice to have at least one winner this week. We will have to see. As there's a chance here for James Wade to leave himself on a respectable finish, which he does. So Wade at 36 here. Johnny Clayton at 66. He's going to get 16 to start. So treble 10, double 18 for a 5-4 lead. He's going to go 18 for double 16, and double 16 he will get. And Johnny Clayton makes it 5-4 in this game. And we move towards leg 10 of this match. And Clayton is now 3 legs away minimum from winning the first match of the evening, and also the first player to win in the best of 14 leg system in this tournament this year. And I think there's going to be a lot of players who need to make the most of the next few nights, because with fans coming back, that is going to be a massive, massive factor for a lot of these players. You know, we've said before, there are some players that excel when fans are back in the stadium. And then there's also some players which don't excel, and they buckle under the pressure sometimes when fans are there. And it will be a massive party in a few weeks in Milton Keynes when there's 1,000 fans there, all, you know, screaming, chanting, in fancy dress, enjoying the darts again. It is going to be a party atmosphere for a week, and I can't bloody wait for it. It's going to be good when we get to the end of the month and we've got fans there. But for now, Johnny Clayton here with a chance to get a 180. Doesn't get it, but he will get 125. That will put him to 414. And in fact, that'll get him down to 289. As for James Wade, he gets himself 100. He's down to 183. But yeah, as you said, Chris, 2-week break after this week's matches. It is a very short week. You know, only 3 nights of action before we do go on to another 2-week break. So it is going to be a very quick turnover. But considering we're going to get fans back in a few weeks, I'm not complaining one bit, because it will be nice to just see 1,000 fans there. And, you know, it was nice when we had them at the Ali Pally, but I think those were very different times. You know, we were sat with the looming expectation of another lockdown. We were sat there with the looming expectation of another COVID outbreak. But right now with the UK and how things have been ran, as James Wade makes it 5-5 on double 12, we're in a much better position. We're in a much better position. You can see the light at the end of the tunnel, which is why I booked my tickets for Blackpool about 2 days ago. So I will be at the match play. Very excited for that. Looking forward to being there in a few months' time. Fingers crossed. Touch wood. By July we can go. But Dad says, I was watching something on Monday. It goes up for the semi-final. It goes up for the semi and the final. Does it? Even better. I mean, if it goes up in terms of fans for the semis and the final, then that's awesome. But hopefully, you know, the fact that we've got 1,000 fans there anyway, as we get another 180. And that's Johnny Clayton with the 6th 180 of this game. And on a 105 average to James Wade's 94. And somehow, even with a 93 average in this game, James Wade is keeping himself in touching distance of the Ferret, who might be on course for another 180. And does. And that's back-to-back 180s for Johnny Clayton. And he gets himself down to 42. And into some breathing space to take the 11th leg of the match and take a 6-5 lead in what has been a very tricky match for him. So 2 darts to double 16 and 1 dart is all he needs, and Johnny Clayton takes a 6-5 lead in this game, and he's now 2 potential legs away from a guaranteed victory, 1 leg away from a guaranteed point. Oh, in terms of the legs, yeah, the legs go up. The legs go up. I think it goes up to I think it's 18 legs for the final, or 21, one of the two. But yeah, the legs go up as the competition continues on. But Chris has said maybe thriving from the fans will help MVG and Wright qualify for playoffs. They should really qualify, no excuses for both of them. And that will be the key. I think having fans back will be critical to how some of these players play. I mean, maybe for MVG, that's what he's missed. He's missed having the crowd there. He's missed having them booing him or, shouting his name, saying he's Michael van Gerwen, Mighty Mike, as he wants to be called, and things like that. And I think for other players, they will struggle. And I'll be interested to see who and how specifically the table changes on that last week of Premier League action. But a chance here for another 180 for Johnny Clayton. He gets 139 to leave himself down at 144. But Tubbs is in the building. How are we doing, my friend? Hope you're all good as always. He said, good morning, lads. Good evening to my good Filipino brethren. How are you doing, my friend? Hope you're all good as always. And then Chloe saying, yes, Clayton. I need Clayton to win the next 2 legs. A big ask, but you never know. And he puts himself in the driving seat for it. He gets 100 to leave 44. James Wade back at 182, so he's going to have 3 darts minimum to make it 7-5. And I think James Wade got something in his glasses there, stopping him from throwing the darts, but he's chucking him again now. And I'll tell you something, he gets 95 in the end, and just a little bit of irritation there for James Wade, but chance here for a guaranteed point for Clayton. 2 darts at double 16, first dart misses, but second dart is great, right in the middle of the double 16 bed, and it's 7-5 to Johnny Clayton, and all I can see is James Wade just rubbing his eye a little bit. I don't know if there's something in there. And now, Johnny Clayton, if he can put his foot on the gas, might be able to take the victory here and beat James Wade. As Tubbs says, he's just got up his half 2. Bloody hell, man. The dedication to the cause is unreal, Tubbs. Hope you're all good, mate. Hope you're all good as always. And then Chris has put, I would love to see if Clayton, Vandenberg, de Sousa can continue their form. when fans are fully back. And yeah, I think they will. I think fans will back them. I think with how the season has been, they've been really enjoyable to watch. And I think fans will back them. And I think that will give them the confidence to continue on in this form. I think Aspinall is another player that will massively benefit from the fans. And he doesn't even need to benefit because he's sat at the top of the league right now. But I really do think that the debutants will do well when fans come back. As for me, I think James Wade might be one of the players that doesn't struggle, but might just simmer down the table as this week goes on. I really do think that had the Premier League continued on for a few days more after our 2-week break, then maybe James Wade could have got a few more points on the board. But that 2-week break for me probably hasn't helped Wade. But there's going to be a chance here for Johnny Clayton to win the game. 76 checkout needed. Treble 20, double 8. Gets treble 20. 2 darts to double 8. First dart misses. But the second dart doesn't. And Johnny Clayton starts the night with an 8-5 victory over James Wade. And a very, very good performance from the Ferret to start off this week's Premier League action. And James Wade, who, let's not forget, was an absolute menace in the previous week's action, consistently averaging over 100. In fact, he averaged over 102 for 4 nights straight. Could not average over 100 tonight. In fact, he couldn't even average over 95, I think, in the end. But Johnny Clayton, he did the opposite. He averaged 105 in the end and put in a really, really dominant performance against James Wade. And I tell you something, the debutants this season in the Premier League do not want to back down. They want to go out there and get some good wins on the board. And ultimately, who knows, maybe we could see all of the top 4 debutants, or the 3 debutants at the very least, make the top 4. We'll have to see. But big win there for Johnny Clayton. It puts him, I think, into the top 4. And when we look at the table, it does indeed put him into the top 4. He moves for now into 3rd place. James Wade will drop into 5th, where Johnny Clayton currently sits. Michael van Gerwen will will drop down to 4th place, but he does play a little bit later on tonight against Dimitri Vandenberg, and what a game that could be. That could be a massive, massive game. And talking about the other games to come up this evening, that is the order of play for those of you wondering. I've got it in the correct order this time, so there's no mistakes like we had last time. We just saw Johnny Clayton beat James Wade a few moments ago. That game ended 8-5 to the Ferrets. We've got Jose de Sousa. He's coming up against Gary Anderson. And I'll tell you something, we'll talk about that game a little bit more in a minute. But Gary Anderson desperately, desperately needs to get results this week, or else we could maybe see Gary, not necessarily by the end of this week, but maybe in that final week, he won't have much to play for. But we'll have to see. We've then got Dimitri Vandenberg up against Michael van Gerwen. That, for me, is the game of the night. And then Peter Wright taking on Nathan Aspinall. The last time those two faced off against each other in the Premier League, it was an absolute belter. So let's hope we get something very, very similar tonight, because it is a fantastic, fantastic night of action. And we have got plenty more darts to come. We will talk about that game in a moment. We'll talk through the stats, how Johnny Clayton played in that game, what James Wade needs to do to improve. But don't forget, if you are new to the stream as always, please do leave a like and a subscription. It is massively, massively appreciated. For those of you that haven't left a sub yet, we are pushing towards 2,200 subscribers on the channel. And we are covering the Premier League of Darts every single night this week, and for pretty much the rest of the tournament. We'll talk about the event times in a few moments' time. But we do have a few more streams coming up, not just over the next week, but we have another stream coming up tonight. If you're a big Champions League fan, it's only about 15 minutes away from kickoff. Here's a look at what's to come on the Sports Corner this week.
Coming up this week on the Sports Corner, Chelsea take on Real Madrid tonight. So if you do want to watch that, you can, of course, join Rowan, who'll be live at 7:55 on the Sports Corner. We'll be back tomorrow and Friday for the Premier League of Darts. I'll be live from 7:05 every night for the action. And then you can also join both the Kierans on Thursday night from 10 to 8 as they cover the two semi-finals in the Europa League. They are the second legs. Saturday morning, what a day. I am nervous. Championship final day live. Come on, the Millers. We want to stay up. That's from 20 past 12. We've got Dortmund against Leipzig. That's straight afterwards at 25 past 2. And then to end off what is a fantastic day of action, you can join KL for Bayern Munich Gladbach. That's from 25 past 5. That's this week on the Sports Corner. It's a jam-packed week.
And that is what's to come over the next week. It is a very busy period now, as you would expect in the football world and in the darting world. You know, we've got a lot of action for the Premier League, which is on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday night. So we've got 2 more nights to come, and then we get a 2-week break. We'll talk about that in a moment's time a little bit more. But as we said, in about 5 to 10 minutes, Rowan will be live with the Champions League game. Chelsea taking on Real Madrid. That is currently 1-1 on aggregate. We already know that Manchester City are through to the next round, so that's coming up. And then we've got a big weekend of action, not just in the Bundesliga, but in the Championship as well. Looking forward to that action on Saturday. But as I said before, we've got more action to come from the Premier League over the next week. If you're wondering how the calendar looks, this is how the Premier League is running for the rest of the competition. We've already had Judgment Night in the top section of the Premier League, so you don't have to worry about that anymore. We've got 3 nights of action to come this week. We've got tonight, tomorrow, and Friday. We've got 4 games to come every single night. That is up till Friday night, and then we have a 2-week break, and then we are back for the final week of action. Monday to Thursday, 27th of May, are the final normal nights. I am not going to be able to stream on the 27th of May, purely because I'm moving back home, so it means I'm not going to be able to stream live on that night, unfortunately. However, I made specifically sure it wasn't Friday, because we will be live for playoffs night on Friday night. That's the 28th of May, when we will find out who is the victor and the champion of the Premier League of Darts. Are we going to get a new victor, or are we going to see one of the old faces, someone like a Gary Anderson, a James Wade, or a Van Gerwen lift the trophy by the end of the month? We will have to find out, but that is the action in terms of the Premier League of Darts. Let's talk about the game we just witnessed a moment ago, because Johnny Clayton, an 8-5 win against James Wade, and what a performance for Johnny Clayton. You've got to admit, I think, I always worry on the first night when we've had a big break that a lot of these players are going to be not tired, but if they've not played much, it will be a very, very sloppy start. And I'll tell you something tonight. Johnny Clayton, who, let's not forget, didn't go to the Super Series, which we will talk about in a second, a little bit more, with a quality performance tonight. And as you can see with the stats, which I will try and get on the screen for you guys now. Let me scroll down. There we go. So in terms of the averages this evening, Johnny Clayton with 105.33 average. James Wade only 92.67, which I believe is his second lowest average of the Premier League this season. So not a good performance at all from the machine. And I can actually look at the checkout stats. 100% tonight for James Wade. But ultimately, Johnny Clayton, 47.06% on checkouts. It was good enough to beat James Wade tonight. And I just feel like, and I don't know why, that the instant minute, and I don't know what it is, but there was something in James Wade's eye. And he kept rubbing at it, taking off his glasses. I don't know if there's something on his glasses or something, whether he was trying to polish them or not. But it felt like it was turning then a little bit. And I know it was only a 92 average. But we've seen it before where James Wade can average a little bit lower than his other players and competitors. But because he's so good at checkouts, he can kind of grind out these lower average performances and get away with it. But tonight he couldn't, because you can see another stat that was very definitive in this game. 6 180s for Johnny Clayton, only 1 for James Wade. And look, we know he's not a big hitter on the 180s, James Wade. He is not a player who likes to go out there and smash in 180s left, right and centre. But ultimately, I do think in the end, that did cost him a little bit. And I'll tell you something, it's cost my bets tonight as well. So both of my bets have died within about, 5 minutes of the night. So cheers, James Wade. Really, really appreciated, my friend. But we move on now to the next game of the evening. We are going on to the game between Jose de Sousa and Gary Anderson. And we will actually look at the table and see how these two guys have done. Because ultimately, Gary Anderson has got a lot of work to do. A hell of a lot of work to do. But I think what's very important is that we also look back at what happened in the PDC Super Series. Because if you're not aware, maybe you don't watch the floor events in darts and you only get to watch the televised events. As you might have heard or seen, Basically, what has happened over the last few weeks and months is we've had the PDC Super Series. So these are basically floor events which take place in England and most recently in Germany, where some of the, pretty much all of the players in the PDC will take part to try and win some ranking money and move up the rankings. And ultimately, because this most recent Super Series, which I believe was Super Series number 3, because it took place in Germany, a lot of players, specifically Premier League ones, did back out because of the issues with travelling and things like that. Real nightmares getting over to Germany with the whole COVID issues in Europe, England as well with the restrictions and stuff like that. But ultimately, we did have the Super Series take place there. It went very well, very enjoyable. And this is who won the Super Series over that week of action. We had 4 days of Super Series in which you will see 2 players from the Premier League, 2 debutants, won. First day, Jose de Sousa won it, 24th of April. Played incredibly well that day. I think he averaged 110 in 2 of his matches. And ultimately, I think in the final, won it with, 31 or 32 darts is all he needed, which is unbelievable in terms of how he played. Well, he was a little bit more than 31 or 32 darts. I think most of his legs were about 11 or 12 darts. I think that's what I wanted to say, which is a ludicrous stat within itself. 25th of April, Michael Smith won. Obviously not in the Premier League this season, but he has pretty much said he thought he should have been in the Premier League and he thinks he's better than half the players in there, which I massively disagree. I don't think he's as good as half of them. Dirk van Dijvenbode, another player who I think a lot of people were not expecting to be in the Premier League, but would have liked to have been in there. He's another one that could have maybe been with a shout at the Premier League, but ultimately, I don't think he was ever going to get there. And then, of course, Dimitri Vandenberg won it on the last day. So he's another one of the debutants that did go on and win one of the Super Series. So you've got to say, Jose de Sousa is going to have a little bit of confidence to him. And then you can also see Gary Anderson was one of the players that didn't enter the Super Series. We already knew months before the Premier League had even started that Gary Anderson wasn't going to be taking part in any European events. You know, he's come out publicly and said he doesn't want to go because of the risk of COVID. He doesn't want to risk any of his family getting it. And I think that's completely understandable. And we've seen over the last week as well, over the last few weeks, Peter Wright didn't go. Johnny Clayton didn't go. Aspinall did. He's one of them that did go. James Wade didn't. So there were quite a few players that didn't actually go in the end. And it'll be interesting to see how they play, because Gary Anderson has said a lot that this was his year. He was going to come out all guns blazing. This was the year of Gary Anderson. We're now 5 months in. We had the Masters, didn't really show up. We had the UK Open, didn't really show up. We've had half of the Premier League, didn't show up. We're still waiting for Gary Anderson to appear. And it really pains me because I love Gary Anderson, and I've always said he's my favourite player. Love him to bits. Quality player to watch. But I think if Gary Anderson was to take a step back and look at his year overall, he's not played well. He hasn't had many good games, ultimately, where you would have probably backed him to win. And that's what worries me about Gary. I want to see a top quality performance. I want to see not just one performance. I want to see a string of consistent performances over and over from Gary. But I just don't know whether we're going to get it or not. And he's got a tough game tonight because Jose de Sousa has been incredible in the Premier League so far. And when you actually look at the table, this is how it stands for both of those players before the night started. And Gary Anderson finds himself 3 games without a win, 2 defeats back-to-back. He could potentially find himself with a 3rd back-to-back-to-back defeat, which if he does lose tonight, could potentially put him in a very tricky situation for trying to get into the top 4, because he could, I think, by the end of the night, potentially be 3 points behind, maybe even 4 points behind the rest of the pack. So he'll have a lot of work to do if he wants to get back into it. As for Jose de Sousa, we already know he could potentially frog jump over James Wade and maybe move into 5th place. Johnny Clayton already in the top 4 after his win against James Wade tonight. Michael van Gerwen could also keep his place in the top 4 if he beats Vandenberg. So Jose de Sousa does need to go out there and get a result. And when you actually look at his results, 2 games could potentially be free tonight without a win, which is quite surprising because I think he's played some of the best starts in the competition. I believe he's still got the highest average of any of the players in the Premier League over the entire season. So he's playing very, very well. But ultimately, just not getting his just deserves. But both players are coming out onto the Oki for this match. Usually, I would have my predictions before and I put the video up on the screen, but because we had lag issues last week, I haven't recorded any this week, to be honest with you. I might try and record some and see if it works tomorrow, but I guess it's easy to just talk through my predictions on the stream with you guys. As always, do put your predictions in the chat for this game. I will be very intrigued to see what you guys do put your predictions. But very quickly, just to go through Super 6 for those of you that have participated. It is now closed, so you cannot enter. But if you want to enter tomorrow, then please do. £25 cash prizes on the table. Just to give you guys an update, Daz, you're out. 8-4 did not happen for Clayton. Chris, you're still in. He predicted 8-5 to Johnny Clayton, which means Chris is still in the fight for it. Marco, you are out. He predicted James Wade 8-5, so unlucky Marco. That's a shame for you. Chloe, she's still in. She predicted 8-5 to Johnny Clayton, so congratulations, Chloe. You are through to the next round. Albertus is out as well. He also predicted 8-5 to James Wade. So we've already lost a few players in tonight's Super 6. We've still got 2 left in the building from what I can see. Might be a few still left on Twitter. We'll have to check a little bit later on. But we will have to see with our Super 6 because we're about to get underway with this game between Jose de Sousa and Gary Anderson. And Jose de Sousa is averaging 99.7 for the entirety of the Premier League. And he's averaged, well, not average, he's had 50 180s in the Premier League. I believe Jose de Sousa already has the highest amount of 180s in the Premier League this season, which is unbelievable. 180, 50 of them. Absolutely incredible. And fair play to him. Absolutely brilliant indeed. Tubbs says, how about me? Did you put a prediction in the chat, Tubbs? Let me just go and have a look. I can't see one. If you did put a prediction in the chat, just do put it in the chat again, Tubbs. Because if not, it's not come up on my phone. So do put it in the chat. But we're underway with this game now. Let me see if I can get the live score to work. There we go. All working, which is good to see. Let's see our 2 predictions from our players in Super 6 tonight. Chloe and Chris still left in this game this evening. Chloe's gone for 8-6 to Jose de Sousa in this game, so she's expecting Gary Anderson to give it a good go tonight. Chris has gone 8-3 to Jose de Sousa. So on one hand, we've got a bit of a mauling, which is what Chris is expecting. And then on the other hand, we've got a very tight game. So we could lose both of them here, and Super 6 will be over before we even hit game number 3. Or Super 6 could continue on. And one of those 2 could be the closest to winning the £25 prize, which we are putting on the line every single night throughout the Premier League of Darts. This week, as Joe's put in the chat, he thinks 8-5 to Gary Anderson. And then Tubbs is going for 8-4 to Jose de Sousa. And in terms of my prediction, I'm going to go 8-5 to Jose de Sousa tonight. I think he will put in a very good performance and continue on where he left off in the Super Series. And he's got a chance here to strike first with 2 darts at double 18, and 1 dart is all he needs. Jose de Sousa takes the lead, and it's 1-0 to the special one in our opening section of the second game. And Gary Anderson is under some pressure. First gin of the night. Oh, I had a gin for a few weeks, and that tastes bloody lovely. Close in, I said 8-4 to Sousa. I'm certain I put that as 8-6 MVG. Let me go and have a look. Let me scroll up. There's Chloe's prediction. I've got a bit too ahead. Yep, no you did. 8-4 to Sousa. You are spot on. 8-6. I read 8-6 for de Sousa. You did put 8-4 for him. So 8-4 for de Sousa. I've written my predictions down too. Nice. I saw the other section of the prediction. I looked on the right rather than the left of what you put. My mistake. But both players then going for a mauling then. Well, not mauling, but a decent win. As we do get the first 180 of this game, and it goes to Gary Anderson, who gets on the board. And I don't actually think, and correct me if I'm wrong, if somebody can remember the averages, I believe I don't think Gary Anderson has averaged over 100 in any games of the Premier League this season. I might be wrong, but I cannot remember one game where I've come out and said Gary Anderson's had over 100 average. And hopefully tonight's the night, because I want to see Gary Anderson do well. But Daz says, I know who the ref is. Who is it, Daz? You'll have to tell me. Who can it possibly be who's the ref tonight for this one? But Martin, he's going to go Gary Anderson. Very best of luck, Martin. He's predicting 8-5 for Gary Anderson. But Jose de Sousa has taken a 2-0 lead as he checks out 99 on double 12. And that is 2 legs in a row for the special one. And Gary Anderson is going to find himself in a bit of a tricky position here, because he's got to get going soon, because Jose de Sousa is averaging 115 as it stands in this opening section of the game. And I was saying earlier, in the Super Series, in the first night, or the first day at the very least of action, he averaged 100 and I think it was 107 for the whole day, including in the final. I think he won every single game by maximum 13 darts, which is unbelievable. I can't remember who he played in the final of the Super Series, but they barely had a chance to even throw a dart, because I think it was Joe Cullen he played, or Humphreys, one of the two. But they ultimately didn't get a chance to throw any darts, because Jose de Sousa was just hitting everything left, right and centre. And maybe that's the worry for Gary tonight. If he doesn't get going soon, and Jose keeps rocking with the trebles, he's going to be out of this game very quickly. And we've only got 4 games tonight, so it could be done fairly quickly at this rate. But Jose de Sousa here, up to 108 average. And he's in really good, comfortable control of this game. Although Gary Anderson, looking to fire back here, which he does, gets 135 to leave 171. So he's not going to be able to check out Gary. And depending on what Jose de Sousa does here, a 180 would be perfect for him, which he's not going to get. But a 140 will do. So Jose de Sousa down to 140. I guess 140, so to leave 120. Gary Anderson at 171. What can Gary do here? He leaves himself down at tops. But can Jose de Sousa check out a ton plus finish? If he gets 120 here to take a 3-0 lead, this will be a real kick in the teeth for Gary Anderson. Which, luckily, I don't think Jose is going to be able to take this out here. So Gary will have a chance at tops. And maybe an opportunity to make it 2-1 in this game. And one of the issues I think we've had with Gary Anderson in this tournament is his finishing, which we're starting to actually see here a little bit. He's got 1 dart at double 10. And he doesn't hit it again. It's the Achilles heel for Gary Anderson. Because now Jose de Sousa gets himself 2 darts at tops for a 3-0 lead, which you would expect him to take out. And he does. And Jose de Sousa 3-0 up on Gary Anderson. And I'll tell you something, it has been his Achilles heel. He has really, really struggled in this Premier League season, Gary Anderson, to check out. And the amount of times I think we've sat here in games, I think it was the game he played against Dimitri Vandenberg, probably the worst match of them, where he just couldn't finish anything for his life. And ultimately right now, he has not checked anything out. So he is at a 0% checkout success. But I would be intrigued to see what his checkout success is for the whole tournament, because I don't think it's going to be a high checkout success, if I'll be honest with you. I would have probably said his checkout success will be around about 30 to 35% for the whole tournament, maybe less. So he's got some work to do, Gary. And he's going to have to do some work tonight, and very quickly, because, I mean, if Jose de Sousa makes it 4, then I think Gary's going to probably find himself maybe on the back of an absolute mauling here. And when you actually look, 17 darts to win leg 3 for de Sousa, 12 darts to win leg 2, and 14 to win leg 1. He's playing very well right now. Much better than I ever could, I'll tell you that for sure. So Gary Anderson at 2-4-1. Jose de Sousa at 2-2-1. Anderson with the break of throw, he's down to 1-4-8 here, so he will be in checkout territory first. Jose de Sousa going to probably need to get another treble here, which he doesn't. So he gets 100 to leave 1-2-1. And maybe an outside chance for Gary Anderson to check out the 1-4-8, which he's not going to be able to take out, so he will be coming back, unless Jose de Sousa checks out the 1-2-1. So 1-2-1 in for De Sousa. Goes for the outer ball first, which means treble 20 for double 18. This would be brilliant if he gets it. He's going to take a step back. Big opportunity for De Sousa. And he hits the 18. So a chance here for Gary Anderson to get his first ton plus finish and first check out of the game on a 107. Gets treble 19, which means he needs 10 for 1 dart at tops, which he doesn't get. And a chance now for Jose de Sousa to take a 4-0 lead in this game on double 9. And with the way that he's playing, he's capitalising on every mistake that Gary Anderson has made. Will he do it this time? Yes, he will. It was brilliant there. 4-0 to Jose de Sousa. And all Gary Anderson can do right now is look on with envy to the performance of the special one, because he's in complete control of this game. And I will say something right now, that Gary Anderson is potentially finding himself in a position here, maybe for a whitewash, because Jose de Sousa starts off with a 140 in the 5th leg of the game, and he's already halfway there towards 2 points on the board. And what a big 2 points it would be indeed for Jose de Sousa. And Chloe's just put, this isn't looking good for our predictions. Yeah, no pressure, guys. You need Gary Anderson to turn it on very quickly, because Jose de Sousa is already down to 2-2-1 after 6 darts. Gary Anderson was technically on for a 9-darter, which he's not going to take, as he only gets 60 to get himself down to 2-6-7. And I don't know tonight, I know I said it earlier, I don't know if it's just because maybe my headphones are a little bit quieter. Is the audience sound tonight a little bit quiet? I don't know whether they've purposely done that so the players can focus a little bit more. But it sounds really quiet. Like usually the nights it's very, very loud. But tonight it's really quiet, and I like it. I like it. It's much better because I can hear everything that's going on. Usually when they've got the crowd noise up, it's very loud, and sometimes commentary is a little bit harder to hear. But I like it. It's much more. It's much better. Not that it's in silence, but just to hear what's going on. So chance here for Gary Anderson to check out the 170, which he's not going to take. And I know tonight Daz predicted we were going to get a 170, but we're not going to get it yet. And maybe an opportunity here for 88 checkout for a 5-0 lead. For Jose de Sousa, needs treble 18 for double 7, which he's not going to get. So he's got 1 dart at bull, and that is brilliant from Jose de Sousa. It's 5-0 to the special one, and all Gary can do is have a little gleaming smile on his face. And that's not a gleaming smile of happiness. That's a gleaming smile of, I bloody wish he didn't take that out on the bull, but he did. And he's 3 legs away from a whitewash on Gary Anderson. And with the way that this is going, you really do feel like this could be a whitewash. And it's not often we get to see that in the Premier League. I think Glen Durrant had one this week. But ultimately, Jose de Sousa right now, really, really smashing Gary Anderson up. And I'll tell you something. I don't know if Gary's been practicing or not, but not a good performance tonight. He's just got to grit his teeth. And he'll be pretty much thinking in his head, and I know this is probably what Gary's like, he'll be thinking, can I just get off stage and forget tonight's ever happened? Because it's been a pretty awful night for him. And not a great way to start off the night's action, is it? And the week ahead. Real bad, not even a confidence booster, just I don't even know what probably the best word to use is. It's a real dampener, I guess, for Gary Anderson. There's Jose de Sousa. Hits a rare 180 in this game. We've not had many of those tonight, have we? But Jose de Sousa, he hits one. And as he stands, he still, of course, doesn't have the 2 points on the board. But with the way that this game is going, because he has got quite a hefty leg difference in this game, if he can go out there and maybe win this by 6 or 7 legs, it will do Jose de Sousa's legs difference a massive world of good for the future games to come. As for Gary Anderson, he's running the real risk here of his leg difference getting out of hand. And I mean, I just want to quickly check on the table what his difference is before the tournament. There you go, -4 is what he started on. So he's up to -9. And ultimately, right now, yeah, not good times for Gary Anderson, is it? He's going to have to somehow try and claim that legs difference back, or else he will have absolutely no chance of making it into the into the finals. But he's got a chance here on tops. 1 dart, which he doesn't get. And that sums up Gary Anderson's performance tonight. Has 3 darts at tops and he can't check it out. So opportunity here for Jose de Sousa to check out 1 or 2. Gets the outer bull, so treble 19 needed. Goes 15, so he won't be checking out. And a chance here for Gary Anderson to come back. With 3 darts at tops again. 2 darts at double 10. 1 dart at double 5. And he gets it! Gary has a leg on the board. And there will be no whitewash tonight. And Gary probably won't feel like he's back in the match. But he's, of course, got to just keep going in this game. He's got to keep rolling on. And he's got to hope that basically Jose de Sousa does not get any more legs on the board for now. So he can get himself back into the match. But could that just be a little confidence booster for him? I don't think it'll be much, but he needs to get something in fast in this game. Tubbs saying de Sousa's running away with this, which he is indeed. And then Chloe saying, I was literally saying before the match, de Sousa, don't let me down. But I didn't really think about Gary letting me down. I just don't know what it is with Gary right now. It's not even like a lack of confidence. I just think he's just not playing good darts at all. And I don't know why. I really don't know why. It just, as I said, for me, it was the biggest confidence booster was when after the World Championship, after the final, you know, he came out and said, Gary's coming back. I'm going to practice with Ryan Searle as much as I possibly can. And I hope that 2021 is my year. I want to go for it. I want to try and win stuff. And for a little bit, I genuinely thought, boom, Gary Anderson is partially back. We've got that drive, that motive, what maybe has been lacking a little bit from Gary Anderson over the last year or two. But he just isn't playing well. And I know that when you actually look over the last 2 years or so, you could say Gary's not been playing well for quite a while now. But he's still made finals. Still made the World Championship final. Still made the World Match Play final. He's made finals from what you would class as bad performances. But this is, he's awful. It's not good to watch. But chance here for a 6-1 lead for Jose de Sousa on double 16. Going to have 1 dart at double 8, which he takes. And he checks out 48 for a 6-1 lead. And Jose de Sousa now finds himself 1 leg away from a guaranteed point. 2 legs away from a massive 2 points. And what a confidence booster it would be for a player already high in confidence anyway, from what has been an incredible week at the darts for him. I mean, he literally just won the Super Series a few days ago with a quality performance in the first night or day of Super Series action. But he finds himself here with a real chance of battering Gary Anderson. And I don't think it's often, to be honest, we get to say Gary Anderson is getting battered. But he is right now. And he's finding himself in a real tricky position. Don't forget tonight as well, Rowan is live with the Champions League as Jose de Sousa smashes in another 118 this game. Rowan is live on the channel right now with the Chelsea-Real Madrid game. We're about 10 to 15 minutes into that match. So if you do want to check that out, then Rowan is live on the channel on the Sports Corner. So just click on our channel and Rowan will be there streaming that game as we speak. But as for now, Jose de Sousa, he's in the driving seat to take another leg. Gary Anderson, he's not in the driving seat, and he's finding himself on the back of an embarrassing result. So 1-6-1 for Jose de Sousa. Gets treble 20, so needs treble 17 for the bull. Gets treble 17, bull for a 1-6-1. This would be brilliant. Oh, doesn't get it. Hits the outer ball, and what an opportunity it was to get the highest check out of the night. So chance here for Gary Anderson. 1 dart at double 16 to check out 39, and he gets it. And there is another leg on the board for Gary. And he now finds himself 4 legs away from Jose de Sousa. And one thing Jose hasn't done in this game is let his performance dwindle. You know, the amount of times we saw players' performances drop, especially against Glen Durrant, was a little bit too much in my opinion. I think too much benefit of the doubt for the current Premier League champion. And we saw too many games where both averages were low. Obviously, Glen Durrant struggling. The other player struggling to beat the struggler. But Jose de Sousa tonight He's looking very hot on form as he tries to smack in a 180 and doesn't. I mean, Chloe said, hang on, surely the prediction isn't still alive. It is. For now, it still is. You've got a chance, maybe. Gary Anderson with a chance for a 180, and he gets it. And here we go. Gary, he's fighting back to get another leg on the board. Remember, if you're playing in Super 6, as it stands, the predictions for tonight, basically Chris needs is one more leg on the board for Gary Anderson and Jose de Sousa to win. And, of course, Chloe, she needs Gary Anderson to get another 2 legs before Clayton was to win the game. So 8-4 was Chloe's prediction for de Sousa, and 8-3 was the prediction for Chris. They're the only 2 left in Super 6 tonight for a chance to win 25 quid cash prize. If you want to play along tomorrow night, then please don't forget to leave a like and a subscription on the stream. That is the only way you'll be able to get involved. You must be subscribed to take part. £25 cash prize every single night for you guys that want to take part. As Gary Anderson has a chance here. A 9-9 on 90, and Gary Anderson gets it. And it's 6-3 in this game. And surely not. Surely not, Gary. He's under pressure. And he's starting to just claw his way back into the game. Jose de Sousa maybe starting to worry a little bit here that Gary's going to get something back in this match. But surely not. Surely he's too far away to do it. Needs 3 legs minimum to match up. But when Jose de Sousa's smacking in 180s, you're going to find yourself under some pressure. 180, that's number 5 in the match for Jose de Sousa. And the confidence might be brimming for Gary Anderson. But the confidence could also be brimming here for Jose de Sousa. I mean, it'd be nice to have a 9 darter chance. That'd be awesome. So he gets 4 perfect darts, which is very nice indeed. Doesn't get a 5th perfect dart, sadly, but if he can get another treble 20, which he does, that will do. So Jose de Sousa is down to 198 after 6 darts. Gary Anderson's going to have to pressure that, which he doesn't. He only gets, I think, 60 to leave 257. And it means now Jose de Sousa has a chance to guarantee a point in this game if he can get himself down to a decent finish. Which he does. He gets a 140. And leaves himself at 58. With Gary Anderson back at 257. How much pressure is he going to be under? The answer is not a great deal. So Jose de Sousa, 2 darts at tops he's going to have here. 18 double 20 needed for 7-3. And a guaranteed point on the board. And he doesn't get it. He's going to have to come back for double 10. Unless Gary Anderson checks out the 158. And I'll tell you something. If he was to take this out, this would be something, wouldn't it? Starts off with an 18. Then gets a 1. And then gets 19. And he's a real waste there. And you think, literally, he just got himself back into the match. Gary Anderson with a few naff darts. Allows Jose de Sousa to get double 10. Now needs double 5. And he punishes Gary Anderson. It's 7-3. And the special one is slowly dragging himself towards 2 points on the board, and if he wins that next leg, he will win 8-3. And although Gary Anderson is trying his hardest to get back into this game, ultimately it's looking like it's going to be too many legs he needed to claw back for Gary Anderson. And the Flying Scotsman is probably going to lose this here, but it's all about the Super 6 now, because Chloe needs 1 more for Gary Anderson. Needs 1 more leg. Chris needs it to stay as it is, and Jose de Sousa to win 8-3. So big pressure on the line here in Super 6. Who is going to go through, if any do? As Jose de Sousa smacks in a 180. That is the 7th 180 of this match. But can Gary Anderson respond with his own? The answer is no. But he will get 100 to match up Jose de Sousa's 261. So both players at 261 here. Jose de Sousa averaging bang on 100, which is so aesthetically pleasing to look at. But he's going to go for another 180 here. And he won't get it, but a 140 will do. He's down to 121. Gary Anderson back at 261. He's going to have to match with a 140. And does very well to do so. So who's going to check it out? Is Jose de Sousa going to do it here? 121 needed. tries to go for the ball, gets 16 to start, which is ultimately not going to allow him to check out here. So Gary Anderson will have a chance to check out a 1-2-1. But is he going to be able to take it out? Because Jose de Sousa leaves himself on 68. So Gary Anderson, 1-2-1 required. Not going to be able to get it, unfortunately. So Jose de Sousa will be coming back here for 68. And a chance for de Sousa to finish the job on treble 20, double 4 to keep Chris Welch's Super 6 dreams alive. One dart at double 16. And double 16 it will be for Jose de Sousa, who takes an 8-3 victory over Gary Anderson and Chris Welch. The Super 6 dreams are still alive. Chloe, unfortunately, knocked out of Super 6 by one leg from Gary Anderson. She predicted 8-4 to Jose de Sousa. Very unlucky, Chloe. But Chris steamrolls on into the next game of the night. He is the last one standing in Super 6 this evening. However, in fact, he's gone. I've just seen, I've literally just seen Ice check out 135. He's out. Because Clayton took out 150. So he's out. Everybody's gone. Everyone is out. No one is in Super 6 anymore. They've all gone. And it means that I get to keep the cash in my back pocket. Get in for another night. So unlucky to everybody. Well worth a go, of course, for those of you that do want to take part. Very unlucky indeed, but a very good effort from both of you. The last two left in the competition. And if you do want to have a go in Super 6, then don't forget every single night of the next week and for the rest of the tournament, we're basically going to run Super 6. All you've got to do is predict the exact 4 scores of the matches every evening, predict the amount of 180s in each session, and then the highest checkout of the night. Every single night, £25 is going to be on the line. However, you must be subscribed to the channel to win, or else you will not be able to claim your prize. We'll be doing a Super 6 again tomorrow for the other 4 games, which we will talk about at the end of the evening. But what a win that was for Jose de Sousa, 8-3 in the end. A brilliant, brilliant performance for Jose de Sousa. Gary Anderson finding himself in a real worrying position because his legs difference has been battered by Jose de Sousa. And as for the special one, his legs difference has improved majorly, which he needed. And hopefully that might give the special one the bit of confidence he needs to continue on this week and get a few more points on the board. But don't forget, we've had a few more games tonight already. We started off the evening with Clayton Wade. That game ended 8-5 to Johnny Clayton. A very good performance for the Ferret on the night with 105 average in comparison to James Wade's 95. And then we had Jose de Sousa in an 8-3 victory over Gary Anderson a few moments ago. But we've got 2 more games to still come tonight. Next game up is the game of the night, arguably. Dimitri Vandenberg taking on Michael van Gerwen. It is the Van Derby. The question is, which one's going to come out on top? Both players in the top 4. Is one of them maybe going to drop out by the end of the night? We'll have to see. And then, of course, the last game of the night sees Peter Wright up against Nathan Aspinall. That game last time was an absolute cracker. Let's hope that we get something similar again to end off the evening. It would be very, very nice indeed if we got an enthralling match. As always, if you are new to the stream, don't forget to leave a like and a subscription if you are new. We are covering the Premier League of Darts every single day, apart from the 27th of April. That's the only day I can't do. But apart from that, we're covering it every single day. And if you are just wanting to sit back, relax, talk with us in the chat, feel free to put some messages. We've got a very nice community in here, and it's always nice to get you guys in the chat, talk about the darts, and it doesn't even have to be about the darts. You can put football stuff in there. We talk about everything in here. It's a sports channel. We love it. But aside from the darts, we've got a whole host of other content still to come on the channel over the next few weeks. Don't forget, as I said a few moments ago, Rowan is still live with Chelsea against Real Madrid. That game about 20 minutes in. I would highly, highly recommend checking it out if you're looking to keep up to date with the scores. As it stands in that match, it is Chelsea 0, Real Madrid 0, 1-1 on aggregate. If the scoreline stays like that, we might be seeing extra time for the first time in quite some time. So do check that out. But for those of you wondering, here's a look at some of the content still to come on the channel over the next week. It is a very, very busy week. Coming up this week on the Sports Corner, Chelsea take on Real Madrid tonight. So if you do want to watch that, you can, of course, join Rowan, who'll be live at 7:55 on the Sports Corner. We'll be back tomorrow and Friday for the Premier League of Darts. I'll be live from 7:05 every night for the action. And then you can also join both the Kierans on Thursday night from 10 to 8 as they cover the two semi-finals in the Europa League. They are the second legs. Saturday morning, what a day. I am nervous. Championship final day live. Come on, the Millers. We want to stay up. That's from 12:20. We've got Dortmund against Leipzig. That's straight afterwards at 2:25. And then to end off what is a fantastic day of action, you can join KL for Bayern Munich Gladbach. That's from 5:25. That's this week on the Sports Corner. It's a jam-packed week. So there's a look at the content to come. As I said, very busy week of football in action, specifically on the channel. We are getting towards the end of the season now. We've pretty much got less than a month left of the big leagues. We've got the EFL playoffs coming up soon as well. So there is going to be a lot of football content to come till the end of the month. And then, of course, we have the Euros afterwards. It's a very, very busy time. But hopefully, we get a few exciting games to end off the season. We've got the Europa League tomorrow and, of course, the Championship final day. They are some of the highlights to come on the channel over the next few days. And if you're a darts fan and you're wondering what's still to come on the darts, then this is how it's looking for the rest of the action in the Premier League this season. As you can see, nights 13 to 16, nights 10 to 12 first, Wednesday 5th to Friday 7th of May. We've got Wednesday, Thursday, Friday night. 3 nights still to come there, nights 10 to 12. We'll have a 2-week break, and then nights 13 to 16. We'll be back for the final 3 nights of normal action. I won't be live on the Thursday, 27th of May, unfortunately, but we will be live for playoffs night, which is on Friday, the 28th of May. We will find out at the end who is going to be lifting the Premier League trophy. Are we going to have the 7th addition to an already stacked line of incredible winners of the Premier League of Darts, or one of the reigning holders of the competition? That would either have to be Gary Anderson, James Wade, or Van Gerwen lifted the trophy by the end of the month. We will have to see, indeed, to see what happens there. But that is the Premier League of Darts. Only got 2 more nights. It's a very quick week, I'll tell you that for sure. It's a shame. I wish we had nights of action all week, but we will have fans back, by the way, for that. So I'm looking forward to seeing fans in Milton Keynes in just a few weeks' time. But let's talk about this game between Jose de Sousa and Gary Anderson, because, I mean, if you are Jose de Sousa, a really good performance tonight. One of those games where Gary Anderson got a few legs back on the board. It became a little bit shaky, but Jose de Sousa was always expected to win it, especially with a 4 or 5 leg lead ahead of Gary Anderson in the end. But when we look at the stats overall, let's go and have a little gander down. You can see on the bottom of your right-hand side of the screen everything that's going on there. As you can see, the averages, Gary Anderson tonight, only averaging 93.62. It's not a great performance at all from Gary Anderson. Really bad. Really bad. And even with the 3 legs back on the board, he should be very, very worried about where he is in the Premier League right now, because I just looked at the table 2 seconds ago, and I tell you something, if he does not get results by the end of this week, he's not, to be honest, he could already be out of it. If I'm being honest, he could already be out of the race, in my opinion, to get the top 4, especially with his legs difference as well. When you look at the checkout success, 21.43% for Gary Anderson, awful again. It's been his real issue in the Premier League this season, and I don't know how he changes it. I have absolutely no idea how he changes it, but he's got to do something and fast, because Gary Anderson is falling down massively. Not in the rankings or anything, but in terms of his chances of making the top 4. I would probably say it's diminishing at an incredibly quick rate. But for Jose de Sousa, 50% on his checkouts, 8 out of 16 doubles. Great performance from him tonight, with 4 180s for Jose de Sousa and 2 for Gary Anderson. So not quite the 14 180s we had in the last 2 games for Jose de Sousa, but 4 will do for him, and a very good performance indeed. And I was looking at the table a second ago, and Gary Anderson tonight, depending on the result in the MVG Vandenberg game, if MVG draws that match with Vandenberg, Gary Anderson could be 4 points away from the top 4 with a pretty shoddy minus legs difference. And to me, that already brings alarming signs, because we've only got 6 more nights of action, which means he's only got 12 more points to play for, and then he's got to rely on the fact that the likes of Van Gerwen, Jose de Sousa are all dropping points. And it will happen. You know, they will drop points. It's inevitable that everybody will drop points at some stage. But Gary Anderson needs to pick up points. And he's not doing that right now. This is the third consecutive defeat in a row for Gary Anderson. And he's got to be very, very worried because with the way it's going, I think Gary Anderson, by the end of this week, if he doesn't pick up any more points, he's out for me. He will be out of the competition and will not get a top 4 spot, which is a shame. But he ultimately, right now, he doesn't deserve it. As for Jose de Sousa, that is a massive confidence booster for his legs difference. You know, it was, I think, 0 on the night tonight, so he does get +5, which is a massive positive, especially when you look at the likes of Clayton and Van Gerwen. They've got +5 legs, +8 legs for MVG, so he does need to get those legs back on the board and fairly quickly, and he did that tonight, and hopefully it does give him the confidence booster that he needs for the rest of the season. But let's move on to the next game of the night, and it's arguably the best game of the evening by a country mile. It is the Van Derby as Vandenberg takes on Michael van Gerwen. And, well, if you're a Michael van Gerwen fan, he hasn't been the greatest of few weeks, has it really, for MVG? Struggled massively in the Super Series. Didn't make a single quarter-final in the Super Series recently. Really struggled. Got knocked out quite easily in the majority of his games. Not the MVG we're expecting. When fans come back, will we see MVG go back to his very best? Who knows? Maybe it is a case of MVG missing the crowd. Somebody to rally him up a little bit. I think we've seen him a lot at the Premier League this season. Shout. And he shouts a lot, doesn't he, anyway? But really shout. You know, very, very loud screams of excitement and passion. And I think that it is a little bit of MVG missing the crowds. So when they do come back in a few weeks, I think he'll be absolutely buzzing about them coming back because it'll be a big confidence booster for him. But Dimitri Vandenberg, as we said earlier when we did look at the Super Series, you can see winner of one of the Super Series. He won the last Super Series event on the 27th of April. Beat Dirk van Dijvenbode in that final, I think. Of course, the Dutchman making 2 back-to-back finals. And it was a really, really good performance for him in the end, Dimitri Vandenberg. And what a good confidence booster for him to come back into the Premier League at darts, being a Super Series winner, getting some more cash under his belt. And when we actually look at the table, of course, this isn't fully up to date. This will be a little bit behind. But this is what it was like at the start of the night. +14 legs difference for Dimitri Vandenberg. He's lost 1 game this season, which I can't actually remember who he lost it to in the end. But, I mean, it's an incredible, incredible performance, isn't it, from the Belgian? You know, we've sat here before. I've said it every single time he's played. He is the past, the present, and the future of the darts. And not many players can be put under that bracket. But what the Belgian is doing is an unbelievable, incredible performance. And I'll give him a lot of credit for what he's doing. And fair play to him. He's one of those players that ultimately, I think, can go out there, put in quality performances. And fair play to him. I think he could finish maybe as the league leader. It all depends on how Nathan Aspinall does for the rest of the competition. But when you look at Michael van Gerwen as well, 11 points for MVG, 4 wins, 3 draws, 2 losses with a +8 legs difference. It's mad to think that MVG this season has not played well, but he's still in the top 4. You know, we were sat here this time last year, and he was at the top of the table, wasn't he? Not at this stage, but when we went into the break, he was at the top of the table, I think after 8 or 9 games, and then he didn't make the top 4. So the real question is he going to be able to do it this time? Or are we going to see him drop out of the top 4 again? We'll have to find out. But do put your predictions in the chat, as always, for these games tonight. Chloe is going for 8-6 to Michael van Gerwen. Tony Walker, hope you're doing good as always, my friend. He's put Dimitri 8-5. Tubbs is going 8-2 to Michael van Gerwen. And Daz has gone 8-3 MVG. So real mixed bunch of predictions tonight. Some going for MVG. Some going for Dimmy Vandenberg. It's a tough one. Because you just don't know which MVG is going to turn up. You know, tonight you could turn up rocking 107 average and beat Dimmy Vandenberg. And then we think, oh wow, that is an MVG performance. But then on the other hand, he could turn up tonight with a 95 average. Dimmy Vandenberg has 100 plus, smacks him up, beats him 8-3, 8-4. And then we're sat here saying MVG's played shite again and he's not doing good. And I honestly don't know. I'm going to go for Dimitri Vandenberg tonight. 8-6 is what I'm going to go for to Dimitri Vandenberg. I'm going to back the Belgian. I think the confidence is absolutely brimming right now. I think he can go out there and beat MVG, especially with the way that he's played recently. So I'm going to back the youngster, the Belgian, the beast, the dancing man, the animal, the world match play champion. I don't really know what name he likes to go under. I'm guessing Dancing Dimitri is the name he tends to usually get these days. But yeah, I'm going to back Dancing Dimitri on this one. I think Michael van Gerwen is going to have some work to do in this game. But let's take a look, because I forgot to show you guys, and I always forget. The actual odds to win. Now, these will have changed a little bit with some of the games that have gone on tonight. But Michael van Gerwen is still somehow, and I know it's because of his reputation in the game, he's still somehow very, very high up in the odds to win the Premier League. In fact, I think he's still top. 2-1 for MVG to win it. And I know that's going based on the fact that MVG, the bookies will expect him to turn up at some point. But Vandenberg is the second favourite to win at odds of 10-3. Nathan Aspinall at 11-2. And Johnny Clayton, who we saw a little bit earlier on tonight, at 8-1. Although I wonder if his odds have slightly dropped down after that result tonight. But Aspinall, I said a few nights ago, I think it was night 5 or night 6, he was 14-1 to win. And I said, put your money on it. And 11-2 he's now at. And I tell you something, still not very very good odds, are they, really, for a player of his quality. And then when you actually look at the rest of the pack, you can see as well, Peter Wright 8-1 to win the competition. James Wade 10-1. I think those odds will have dropped down a little bit tonight after a very disappointing performance. Jose de Sousa at 11-1. I think his odds will have gone up. And then Gary Anderson 22-1. I think those odds will have been slightly slashed after tonight's performance. Not really great, is it, for Gary? Struggling massively. In terms of odds to reach semi-finals, again, Michael van Gerwen and Dimitri Vandenberg are both at the top of the list. 1-8 for Dimitri Vandenberg, and Michael van Gerwen just ahead at 1-6. But I wonder if tonight will be the difference maker, and whether Dimitri Vandenberg will finally overtake Michael van Gerwen if he wins tonight. Because we saw the table a few moments ago, and I'll just very quickly get the table up again for those of you wondering. If Dimitri Vandenberg wins tonight, then he will have a 4-point gap over Michael van Gerwen, which at this stage of the competition is massive. However, if Michael van Gerwen wins tonight, we will have 3 players sat on 13 points. Of course, Nathan Aspinall's still to play in the last match of the evening. He comes up against Peter Wright, but Michael van Gerwen will want to be in touching distance of the rest of the pack, so it is detrimental that he goes out there and gets a result tonight, or else we could maybe see a 4-point gap between the top 2, and that would be very, very costly at what is the... It's not really the mid-stage of the season, isn't it? Because realistically, night 17's the final. So we're now kind of... We're not even 3 quarters in. We're getting very close to being 3 quarters in, but we've got... After tonight, we've got 6 normal nights of action left before the finals. So it is getting to that stage where points are starting to diminish a little bit. The pressure's on. And I think Dimmy's winning it tonight. So that's what I'm going for. 8-6 Dimmy. But let's see what happens as the game is about to get underway. Banks in the chat saying he thinks Dancing Dimmy's going to win 8-4. He's back in the Belgian tonight. Chloe's saying, I think if MVG is going to win the league, he needs to make a statement now. Just as I was saying a moment ago. If he doesn't, then he could be in trouble with the top 4. Dimmy has played well, but how long can he keep it up? Whole season, I'm feeling. I think he can keep it up the whole season. I think arguably he can beat anyone on his day. I mean, it's shown it, hasn't it, throughout this tournament. There's not been many bad games from him this season. And Tony saying, MVG has the lowest checkout percent in the league and second lowest average. So Dimitri for me. Lowest checkout percentage? Who's second lowest, Tony? Surely it's got to be Gary Anderson. If you know what Gary Anderson's checkout average is for the whole tournament, give me a heads up, because I was thinking earlier about it. As we have the first 180 of the nights. Let's use... Who are we going for this time? It's a Paul Hinks, sod it.
One of the
Back-to-back. Oh, back-to-back 180s. There we go. 2 180s to start. And that could maybe set the tone for this game. And we are off to a rocker. Let's hope that this game ends in a classic. Because we've had a few good games this season in the Premier League. Let's hope that Vandenberg brings out the very best in MVG tonight. But what a start 2 180s on the board. And I think the one game we can look back at, or maybe 2 games, at the very best of MVG this season. First game, Rob Cross, which he played very well. 107 average in that game. Smashed Rob Cross off the park. And then the second game, which he played very well, was the Jose de Sousa match, in which he averaged, I think, around about 105 for large parts of the game. And that was an absolute cracker as Van Gerwen smacks out a 1-2-6 finish on the ball. And that's how you start against Dimitri Vandenberg. As Chelsea apparently have just taken a 1-0 lead. Timo Werner, big goal that is for Chelsea in the fight for the Champions League. I really want an all-Premier League final, but we'll have to see if they can hold on, because all it takes is for Real Madrid to score again, and then we're going extra time. But we'll have to see on that one. But a good start to this game as Dimitri Vandenberg looks to smack it a 180, and here we go. The 180s is flying in. That's number 3. Can Michael van Gerwen respond with 180 of his own? The answer is no, but a 177 will do. A 174, sorry, for MVG will do. How about a 180 for Dimitri Vandenberg? I think, Chris, please tell me you've got that 9 data prediction on for Vandenberg tonight, because you just kind of feel like that this could be one of the games where maybe Vandenberg has a chance of hitting it tonight, as he hits 4 180s. Gets a treble 19, needs another one. Oh, no 9 data chance, sadly. Thought we were getting one there for a second, but he is down to 185 after 6 darts. And we're off to a rocker here. MVG averaging 131. Dimitri Vandenberg averaging 118. Let's hope it continues in this vein for a large part of the game. But I think Vandenberg just wanting to calm the game down a little bit here. I think you can tell with Van Gerwen's pace very quick tonight, as you'd expect. Got 1 dart here at double 16. He's going to go 19 for double 14, which he doesn't get. So chance here for Dimitri Vandenberg to check out 88 and make it 1 apiece in this game, or else you would expect Michael van Gerwen to take a 2-0 lead in this match. So 1 dart at the ball, which he doesn't get. So Van Gerwen coming back here at double 7 for an electric start to this game. And that is MVG for you. 2-0 lead to the Dutchman. And a brilliant start to this game. And this is what we expect from Michael van Gerwen. We're not seeing it enough this season, but it's a good start. And we need to see it a little bit more from him. But 140 to start for Dimitri Vandenberg. And we need to see quite a few of those tonight for Vandenberg. Or else with the way that MVG has started, he might be able to run away with things here. But he's not going to be able to, because he starts with 58 to leave 4-4-3. So the power is in Dimitri Vandenberg's hands right now to maybe go out there and just get a foothold of this third leg. And he needs to capitalise on it, and he doesn't. He only gets 43, so a big, big let off there for Michael van Gerwen. As for MVG, he only gets 99. So a little bit of a let off there for Dimitri Vandenberg as well. He could have arguably allowed MVG back into that leg there, but he doesn't. But, oh, I mean, isn't it incredible to see Sky advertising the tickets for the Premier League of Darts? I cannot believe we're now at this stage, right, where we can have fans back again. It kind of feels surreal, as there's a chance for a 180 for MVG, gets a 140 to leave 204, with Dimitri Vandenberg back at 278. But it feels so surreal, doesn't it? The fact that we can have fans back after all this time. It feels like forever and a day when we live streamed the first night of the World Championship action. We had that one night of fans. The one night where Peter Wright came in the Grinch costume. That feels like a bloody long time ago since that moment. In fact, when you think about it, it was about 6 months ago. Not to the date, but 6 months ago when that happened. As there's a chance here for MVG to check out the 1-2-3. With the way that this game is going, he'll do it. Starts with a 19, which means he needs treble 18 for the ball. And he does it! And it's 3-0 to MVG. And that is brilliant. What a finish. And he's 3 legs up on Vandenberg. And this is vintage MVG. This is what you expect from him. And it's kind of one of those situations right now where you've just got to live in the moment. You've got to enjoy it. because you just don't see this enough from MVG. You haven't said it for a long time. But he's averaging 114 right now, MVG. And we're living the moment. Enjoy it while we can. Gary's 38%. That's mad. I thought Gary's would have been a little bit less with how poor he has been on finishing. But 38% surprises me. I was expecting around about the 30 to 35% mark. But that surprises me, actually. What's Van Gerwen's, Tony? If you know off the top of your head. Is there's a chance here for a 180 for Dimitri Vandenberg, which he gets, and there's another one on the board. As Vandenberg gets himself down to 226. MVG at 266. He gets himself down to 171 with 85. And Dimi just really trying to compose himself. Trying to really kind of lead the pace of the game, I think is the best way to put it. MVG, very quick with the throw-in, which is what we expect from him. But Dimitri Vandenberg taking a few steps back, composing himself, slowly taking his darts. He's trying to kind of compose himself and lead the charge in this match with a pace, but it's just not working right now, and he needs to take out this 1-2-6, which he's not going to be able to do. So a chance here for MVG to take a 4-0 lead on the second-placed Dimitri Vandenberg on tops, and tops is what he gets. And he's 4-0. And we're halfway through this game potentially already. And Dimitri Vandenberg has to get something quick, because in my opinion, if he goes 5-0 up here, Van Gerwen, then for me, Dimitri Vandenberg is probably going to lose this game. I cannot see Dimitri Vandenberg getting anything back here if MVG gets it to 5-0. But he's only had one opportunity at the doubles, Vandenberg. That's how well MVG's playing here. One opportunity at the doubles. In fact, he's not actually won a leg with over 15 darts. Leg 3 was won by the most darts with 15. Leg 1 was won by 12 darts. Leg 2 by 13. Leg 3 by 14. And he's looking to smack in a 180 here. And he does. And that's another 180 for MVG. That's 5 in the match. And he's rocking and a rolling, as you would expect from the green machine. That is Michael van Gerwen. And it's, as I said, you just don't see this enough from him. But what a performance indeed. And I'm praying to the gods that when I do go to the match play in July, I am there on a night where MVG is playing, because I want to see him play. I've never been to the darts. It's been a shame. Been dying to go. Obviously, just very inconvenient with COVID timings. But I will be there at the match play. So that does mean, unfortunately, when the World Match Play is on, there will be no streams for it, because I'm going to be there. But chance for a 91 checkout here. Double 17 needed, which he goes for tops. And that is brilliant. I think he went treble 17 instead, and it's 5-0 to Van Gerwen. And I tell you something, had Super 6 have not wiped everybody out tonight, I think Michael van Gerwen would have wiped everyone out anyway, because he's averaging 118 in this game. Dimitri Vandenberg's averaging 105, but you can't tell with the way that MVG's playing. Crazy. Absolutely crazy. And as it stands, Michael van Gerwen up to plus 13. If he wins this game, he will go into second place. Dimitri Vandenberg will drop down to third. Johnny Clayton will drop down to fourth. And what a confidence booster this would be for MVG on the legs difference as well. He will have certainly made up the 8 or 9 legs between him and the likes of Nathan Aspinall and Dimitri Vandenberg at the top. 105 Vandenberg's averaging. 105, you can't tell. It's crazy, isn't it? So MVG at 287 here. Looking to get another 180. And with the way he's going, he'll hit it. And he does. And he's another 180. He's now up to 119 average. And he's playing arguably the best darts that he's played this year, as we go up to 6 180s in the match. Crazy. So 139 for Vandenberg leaves him 170. MVG with a chance to check out 107, which he's not going to be able to do for now. So Dimitri Vandenberg has got to check out this 170, or else you would expect MVG to take a 6-0 lead. And he's not going to be able to take it out, Dimitri Vandenberg. So MVG coming back here with 2 darts at tops, or 2 darts at double 16. What's he going to go for? He's going to go for Tops. And Tops, he gets it 6-0. Can you believe it? What a performance. 6-0. Wow. Captivating for one of the world's best players. And this is a statement of intent from the Dutchman. Of all the talk we've had over the last 10 nights of can MVG put in world-class performances? Is this the end of the Green Machine? This is a real sense of proof that, look, if MVG can get back to his very best consistently, that MVG is not going anywhere for quite some time. And I think we all expected him to come back at some point. But what he has to do is that if he does win this game tonight, which I think he will, he needs to make sure that tomorrow he goes in with the same confidence and a similar performance. Doesn't have to be 118 average, but it needs to be a very high average and another win to get himself back into that rhythm of winning and getting a real confidence booster to him. It's Dimitri Vandenberg, smacks in the 180. And that is the 7th of the match. He's down to 127. With Michael van Gerwen all the way back at 363. Gets himself 93 to leave 270. So a good opportunity here for Dimitri Vandenberg to maybe get a leg on the board. He's going to try and check out the 127, which he's not going to be able to check out. But he will be coming back as Van Gerwen is at 270. So an opportunity here to just make that legs difference a little better for Dimitri Vandenberg if he can check out double 16 with 3 darts in hand, which he's got to do here. So double 16. And the right stopped. And now he's a leg on the board. And there's going to be no excitement for Dimitri Vandenberg, as you'd expect. Because Michael van Gerwen, if he does get one more leg on the board, he's guaranteed a point. Remember, it is best of 14 now, not best of 12. And Dimitri Vandenberg has got to do a job what Gary Anderson couldn't. And that's get himself back into a game where he was pretty much 4 or 5 legs down. Dimitri Vandenberg is 6 legs down. So it'd be an even better comeback if he could do it. But Vandenberg is now averaging 109. Michael van Gerwen is averaging 108. You can't bloody tell. As Chloe says, it isn't good for Dimitri's leg difference. It certainly isn't. And that's why he's got to somehow claw it back. And he gets 2 back-to-back 140s. So he's down to 221. With Michael van Gerwen at 326. So there is another opportunity here, maybe, for Dimitri Vandenberg to get another leg on the board if he can get a good few trebles here and get himself into a decent checkout. And he will do. He gets himself 139 to leave 82. So Dimitri Vandenberg, a chance maybe here to make it 6-2 in this game. And he's averaging 110, Dimitri Vandenberg. So double 16. Gets the outer bull. So he's going to have 1 dart here at tops for 6-2. And 6-2 he will get. Is this a resurgence for Dancing Dimitri? And it has to be a quick resurgence here. Every dart the Belgian hits has to be immaculate. He needs to hit 140s and 180s left, right and centre for the rest of this game. Or else MVG will take this. And it will be a shocking result for Vandenberg. And he starts with a 140. And there's a little bit of a head movement, bit of confidence. Maybe starting to build in the Belgian. Because MVG start with 100. So the advantage is with Dimitri. Just as long as he gets himself probably another 140, I would say he needs here. So he starts off with a 20. Gets another 20. Needs a treble 20, which he doesn't get. But a treble 17 will do. So Dimitri Vandenberg down to 270 after 3 darts. But the Green Machine gets himself down to 262. And it's mad, isn't it? MVG averaging 106. Dimitri Vandenberg averaging 110. He's going to get 100 here, Dimitri Vandenberg. So he's down to 170. Just got to hope now that MVG doesn't get over 100. Which he is going to get over 100. He's down to 134. Can Dimitri Vandenberg check out the 170? We haven't had a 170 in the competition this season so far. Gets the first treble 20. Gets the second treble 20. Let's have the 170. No, we're not going to get it. Nowhere near. I think it's the 15 instead. which means, unfortunately, no 170 tonight, but a chance for Dimitri Vandenberg to check out 35 here with 2 darts at double 16. And Dimitri might be able to claw himself back here. And that's another leg on the board. He's 6-3. Well, well, well. Here we go. We've got a game in our hands now, haven't we? 6-3. And that is 3 back-to-back-to-back legs for the Belgian. And MVG now just starting to slowly dwindle in this game. That electric start of the 110 plus average has now dwindled towards 107 average for MVG. And the 100 average from Dimmy has rocketed up to 108. But can he hold on? MVG down to 191. Dimitri Vandenberg all the way back at 458. Really needs a 180 here, which he's not going to get. And you feel here that now the opportunity has arose for MVG to finally get that 7th leg on the board and at least get himself a point in this game. And a deserved point it would be. He's going to be able to check out 96. He's probably going to have 6 starts to do it. He will have 6 starts to do it, as Vandenberg only gets himself down to 225. So 96 required here. 2 darts at double 18 for 7-3. And it is 7-3. And that's a point guaranteed for Michael van Gerwen. And Dimitri Vandenberg is now going to have to win 4 back-to-back-to-back-to-back legs, or else MVG will take what is a massive 2 points in the complexion of the race for the top 4, and specifically the race to finish top of the league. And there's a chance for a 180 for MVG. And here we go. There's a 180. And literally, as Chloe was saying, this match deserves a 9-darter. Maybe MVG could be the man to give us it. It would be very, very nice indeed if we could have a 9-darter in this game. We've now had 8 180s in this match. And it'd be great, wouldn't it, if we got a 9-darter from MVG. And he's not going to get it as he hits 5 with his first dart. So no 9-darter chance, which is a shame. I do think we might have another 9-darter this week. I'm not going to lie. I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it. But it's not going to be in this game. And when you actually look at it, MVG on plus 12 legs. Which means, unless Dimitri Vandenberg can claw it back here and get a few legs back, he will be overtaken tonight by the green machine. And he's on course here to take the leg. He's down to 107. With Dimitri Vandenberg back at 236. So unless Dimmy here gets a 140 or more than that, I would expect Van Gerwen to probably make it 8-3 and seal the deal. So 107 required. He's not going to be able to get it, MVG, unless he checks out double 14, which he doesn't get. And Dimitri Vandenberg will be coming back here with 1-4-3 checkout. Treble 20, treble 17, double 16 needed. Gets 20. Gets 20. And gets 17. Treble 17 even. But I think he's not going to be a chance to check out here because MVG hits double 14. And what a win for Michael van Gerwen. Sensational darts from 2 of the very best players in the Premier League. And although this season MVG has not been playing to the same standards you would expect, he gave Dimitri Vandenberg the best game of the Premier League so far in terms of the averages. It was a quality performance from the Green Machine, and that was one of those games where it could be a real confidence booster to Michael van Gerwen as he battered Dimitri Vandenberg 8-3. And Dimmy, he averaged nearly 110 himself in this game, but ultimately he just couldn't get anything in this match. And what a result that is for the complexion of the table, because as you can see, this was the table at the start of the night. Michael van Gerwen has just got his legs difference, up by quite a country mile. He's gone from plus 8 to plus 13. Dimitri Vandenberg has dropped down as well, which means Michael van Gerwen now moves into 2nd place. Dimitri Vandenberg moves down to 3rd. And Johnny Clayton, who picked up a result against James Wade tonight, will go and move down, to 4th place. So, that's how the table is looking. It does mean that in the next game this evening, Nathan Aspinall has an opportunity to get himself a 5-point gap over the rest of the pack in terms of the fight for the top 4, and what a confidence booster that would be. However, it could be made even more complex if Peter Wright goes out and wins the match tonight, because then he would go up to 11 points, and there'd only be 2 points separating, I believe, 6 of the players, which makes it very, very exciting indeed. But as you can see with the order of play, that is the next game to come up, Wright versus Aspinall. We have had a few other games this evening. We started off with Johnny Clayton up against James Wade. Johnny Clayton tonight averaged 105.33 with 6 180s against James Wade, who never really turned up in that match and struggled massively. So what a good win it was. Very comfortable, you have to say, for Johnny Clayton towards the end of that match. Jose de Sousa in an 8-3 win against Gary Anderson. Very similar to this game. Gary Anderson just wasn't able to get a rhythm or a flow going in his game. And ultimately, Jose de Sousa was able to capitalise on that with 4 180s for the special one and a 99.28 average in comparison to Gary Anderson's 93.62. And then, of course, we had Dimitri Vandenberg against Michael van Gerwen, which we will talk about in just a few moments' time. But don't forget, if you are new to the stream, we always say it, don't forget to leave a like and a subscription on the channel. It is greatly, greatly appreciated. For those of you that have enjoyed the stream, to leave a follow. Because we don't just cover the darts on here, we cover a whole host of other sports. And it is a very, very busy week of footballing content on the channel. Don't forget, Rowan is still live with the Champions League. Of course, it's the semi-finals tonight. Chelsea taking on Real Madrid. We already know Manchester City are through to the final. As it stands right now, Chelsea 1-0 up against Real Madrid. Big result that could potentially be in the complexion of maybe getting an all-Premier League affair for the final. We'll have to see. But here's a look at some of the other content to come on the channel over the next few days on the Sports Corner. It is a very busy one. Coming up this week on the Sports Corner, Chelsea take on Real Madrid tonight. So if you do want to watch that, you can, of course, join Rowan, who'll be live at 7:55 on the Sports Corner. We'll be back tomorrow and Friday for the Premier League of Darts. I'll be live from 7:05 every night for the action. And then you can also join both the Kierans on Thursday night from 10 to 8 as they cover the 2 semi-finals in the Europa League. They are the second legs. Saturday morning, what a day. I am nervous. Championship final day live. Come on, the Millers. We want to stay up. That's from 12:20. We've got Dortmund against Leipzig. That's straight afterwards at 2:25. And then to end off what is a fantastic day of action, you can join KL for Bayern Munich Gladbach. That's from 5:25. That's this week on the Sports Corner. It's a jam-packed week. Of course, I've clicked the wrong one, didn't I? I was just sat there wondering, why is he very quiet? I clicked the wrong one. Apologies about that. Yeah, that is basically what's coming up on the channel over the next few days. Lots of content still to come. As I said, Rowan's still live with the UCL, so if you do want to go and check that out while the break's on, highly recommend popping in, saying a quick hello to Rowan, and hopefully he'll keep you up to date with the scores of the Champions League tonight and everything going on there. It's well, I'd say it's a very good game. I'm not watching it, so I have no idea what's going on, to be honest with you, whether it's a good game or not. But we will have the Europa League tomorrow as well. 2 big semi-finals. We already know Manchester United pretty much already through to the next round. They're 6-2 up on aggregate against AS Roma. But it's the other semi-final. Villarreal 2-1 up against Arsenal. Who's going to go through in that game? Are we maybe going to get an All-Premier League Champions League final and a Europa League All-Premier League final as well? We'll have to find out. But that's all the content to come with the football. Let's move on to the game we just watched a few moments ago. Dimitri Vandenberg up against Michael van Gerwen. And what a brilliant game it was indeed. I mean, these are the best averages of the tournament by a country mile. Let's have a look at the stats of the game overall. As you can see, look at the averages for both players tonight. 109.96 average from Michael van Gerwen. That is a high quality performance from the Dutchman. Dimitri Vandenberg with 106.78, which I believe is the highest combined average of any game of the Premier League so far this season. So it was a high-octane match and a very well battled game, but you wouldn't be able to tell, considering Dimitri Vandenberg only got 3 legs on the board. But what was the important stat was the checkouts. As you can see, 80% tonight for Michael van Gerwen. That's 8 out of 10 on these doubles. Even with a 60% checkout success for Dimitri Vandenberg, that's 3 out of 5 at doubles. It just wasn't enough to beat Michael van Gerwen. And in the end, the Green Machine, with what is a major, major confidence booster. And fair play to him, because he played bloody brilliant tonight. And this is what you want to see from Michael van Gerwen. You know, we had 8 180s in the game, 4 apiece. You just, as I said earlier, you just don't see this performance enough from Michael. You know, too many times I think we've said over the Premier League and over the last year that MVG hasn't turned up to the extent of what we expect of him. But that's what we expect. I don't expect him to be hitting 110 averages every week. I expect, you know, high 100 plus averages and good checkouts. But that was brilliant tonight. Absolutely sensational darts from MVG. He never... There was a slight section of the match where you thought maybe Dimitri Vandenberg could get a few legs on the board, and he did. He got 3 legs back. But ultimately, because he got such a gap over Dimitri, he got 6 legs over him, it was always going to be inevitable of how quick MVG was going to win the game, rather than is Dimi going to get back into it and take some points off MVG. And it's exactly what we expected. He went on, won the match, good confidence booster for him. And I hope that for the rest of the week, that is the standard what we get from MVG. Because the problem for me is we've had those performances where he's averaged over 100, he's played very good, he smashed someone up and got a confident result. But then the next night, he usually goes and then drops a stinker. I think the Rob Cross game, the night afterwards, I think it was the Peter Wright match, played terrible, still won, but played rubbish. The game where he played... Apologies about that. The game where he played, I think it was Jose de Sousa the night afterwards. He played, was it James Wade, I think, or one of the two? Played terrible. Didn't get over a 95 average, I think. And ultimately, in the end, yeah, I think too much. He's basically gone out there and then, after a really good performance, he's not bottled it, but played a little bit disappointing. So for me, the important thing is that he continues that consistency on. And, you know, if you can come out of this week, maybe with 3 games, over 100 plus average, get a few wins on the board, we could be talking about Michael van Gerwen already a pretty safe candidate to make the top 4, which is certainly an improvement on last year, considering he didn't even make the top 4 at the end of the Premier League of Darts. But we'll have to see, because there's still more nights to come. Lots of action still to go from Michael van Gerwen, and lots of action for Dimitri Vandenberg, who takes his 2nd loss of the season. And, I mean, all he's got to do now is wipe this result out of his head and move on, because the one thing you don't want to do is then start going on a losing streak. You know, we've seen it before with some of these players. You get a good run going, then you drop points, and then you start to worry about maybe dropping out the top 4, and you don't want to do that. We saw with Johnny Clayton, he had a little bit of a stumble and then got himself back onto form again. Dimi can't do that. I don't think he will. I think he will go out there and ultimately keep himself composed, and probably whoever he plays next beat them. I think he plays Gary Anderson tomorrow, so I would expect him to beat Gary. But look, it's all about consistency in this competition, and we'll have to see whether he does well or not in the next match, which will be tomorrow. But we'll move on to the next game of the night now, and it is the final game, and it means we're probably going to be done fairly quickly tonight. We'll probably be done before 10 o'clock at this rate. Peter Wright coming up against Nathan Aspinall, and this should be a very, very exciting game to watch. The last time these two faced off against each other, it was a fantastic match. Really, really well played game. Both players averaged over 100. Nathan Aspinall put in a quality performance, and I believe Nathan Aspinall came out with a victory, if I'm correct. It was either a victory or it was a 6-6 draw. I actually think it was a 6-6 draw. Somebody will know in the chat. Somebody will remember a little bit more than I do. But yeah, I'm actually going to try and see if I can get it up. Where is it? So the last time these two faced off against each other, it was, 7-3 win for Nathan Aspinall. It was a game where Peter Wright averaged 98.27. Aspinall averaged 105.2 with a 50% checkout success. It was great. Absolutely phenomenal performance from the Asp. And he'll be hoping he can put something similar in tonight, because after that win for Michael van Gerwen, the table, of course, a little bit different from what it is on the screen right now. But Michael van Gerwen goes up to 13 points. Dimitri Vandenberg will drop down to 3rd because of his inferior legs difference. Johnny Clayton, who beat James Wade tonight, he moves into 4th place. I think Nathan Aspinall has got a very, very good chance here of putting himself well in favour of finishing in the top 4. Because if he wins tonight, he will get himself, I believe, a 5-point gap or a 4-point gap over the rest of the pack towards 5th, 6th and 7th. And he needs that at this stage. He needs that little bit of a comfort blanket because eventually you would expect Nathan Aspinall to drop points somewhere. And as for Peter Wright, you can see on the screen, 3 wins, 3 draws, 3 losses. We were sat there on night 9, potentially thinking, oh, is there a chance maybe that Peter Wright could get relegated? And then, of course, he absolutely spanked up Glen Durrant and pretty much saved himself on that night. But he's not been consistent enough in this tournament. And ultimately, he's, again, another player that, in my opinion, needs to get a run of form going soon. Or else we could see Peter Wright maybe not making the playoffs, which for me, it'd be quite disappointing. I think he's one of those players where you would expect him to be up there in the top 4. But with the way that the debutants have played, with how Asper's been playing, incredible form, ultimately, in the end, he's got to go out there and get some results on the board quick. Because if he does tonight, he'll go up to 11 points. We'll have Clayton, he'll be on 12 points. James Wade on 10. It'll be very, very tight in terms of the actual fight to get into the top 4. However, if Asp can win, just give him a little bit of breathing space. And he's only had 1 loss this season, Nathan Aspinall, which is absolutely incredible when you think about it. That last loss he had, I believe, I can't actually see right now because Aspinall, of course, was playing in the Super Series, so I can't actually look at his previous matches, but somebody else will be able to say in the chat who he lost to. Was it? It wasn't MVG, was it? He got a draw against MVG. I'm trying to remember who he lost to now. Was it Dimi? I think it might have been Dimitri Vandenberg he lost to in the end. But look, when these two have come up against each other in the past, Nathan Aspinall has a very, very good record of beating Peter Wright. In fact, the last 5 times that they've come up against each other, as you can see on your screen, Peter Wright has lost 3 of them and won 2 of them. So they've got a very, very good record, specifically for the Asp when they come up against each other. And when I look at this game, I'm backing the Asps to win. And I wonder what you guys are going to predict. Do put your predictions in the chat, because I always like to see what you guys are going to go for. But I think the Asp is going to win tonight. I think for me, Peter Wright hasn't been consistent enough in this competition. I think he's been a little bit poor. Too many games he's dropped points. Too many games where I think he could have come out with results and he hasn't. And I'm wondering whether tonight might be another situation where he does. As for the Asp, he went to the Super Series, as we saw a moment ago. Peter Wright didn't. And he played alright at the Super Series. Didn't win a tournament, but I believe he made the semi-finals once or twice in the 4 days. So a good confidence booster for him in the respect that he's had a good run. And most importantly for him as well, momentum. Just playing professional darts against players in the Super Series is probably better than practicing at home. And he said before in an interview before the end of the previous matches, before we had that 2-week break, that if he wasn't going to Germany, he would probably just be at the pub instead. So why not go to Germany, see if you can get yourself a little bit more prize money on the board, move yourself up the rankings, and then come back here with a little bit of confidence. But Peter Wright is coming out onto the stage in just a moment's time as we get ready for the final game of the night, I believe. We're probably going to be done before 10 o'clock this evening, which is not too bad at all. As I said, if you're wondering how the rest of the World Championship, I have a nightmare here, it's probably drinks. If you're wondering how the rest of the Premier League of Darts is going to be taking place, then we have 2 more nights of action, Thursday and Friday. That's nights 11 and 12, and then we'll be having another 2-week break, and then that will be the last week of Premier League of Darts action, and then that's it. I don't think we've got any more darts on the channel till I think October, which is a long, long time without any darts. We would have the World Match Play, but I'm actually going to be there for it. So if you are going to Blackpool, do say in the chat, because it would be nice to see if a few of you are going there to Blackpool in July. But the tickets are booked. I will be there, and I'll be watching on in the standing section, and I think I'm in a bit of the balcony section I think I'm looking at as well. So going to be enjoying it indeed when it does come round to July. But let's go to this game, because when we actually look at the stats of both players, Peter Wright averaging 97 for this tournament, Aspinall averaging 98. And in terms of the checkouts, 50% bang on for Aspinall, which is incredible. And Stephen's put in the chat, thank you, my friend. He put the Asp loss to James Wade. He did. He got battered, didn't he, by James Wade in that match because of the machine being a machine on his checkouts. But thank you very much, Stephen, for that. Feels like a long time ago, doesn't it, that game? And you feel that Peter Wright has got to win this game tonight. As for the Asp, it's not must win, but it'll feel like a must win to get that advantage over the likes of MVG and, of course, Dimitri Vandenberg. So we're about to get underway with the action. Very best of luck to both players. Of course, nobody's left in Super 6. If you want to take part in the Super 6, we will be back again with that tomorrow. Every single night this week, we'll be putting £25 on the line as we get the first 180 to start this tie between Peter Wright and Nathan Aspinall. But if you do want to get involved with that, then you can join us for Super 6 every night. 25 quid cash every single night, potentially for the winner. If you want to find out more details, you can check our social media on our Twitter, which is @the_top corner. Link is always in the description. If you want to check that out, well, let's get underway with the action here because Peter Wright is down to 2-2-1 after 6 starts. There's Rusbury's our ref. Not football, is it, manager? Getting mixed up with the football there for a second. It's been a long few weeks, I'll tell you honestly. Especially being a Rotherham United fan. It's been miserable. Dad's saying £8.50 in my pocket. Not too bad. Not too bad. As I said, I think the actual bets themselves probably aren't worth it just because you don't get a great deal back. But when you take £7, it's not too bad, I guess. But a chance here for Peter Wright to check out. And it's treble 18 for the Bull. He's going to set up instead with Aspinall back at 303. So Peter Wright is 68. Aspinall a little bit too far back. Needs a few troubles on the body of the Asp, which he isn't going to get. He only gets himself down to 286. So real disappointing few darts there for Nathan. And the advantage here for the Peter Wrights, the Snakebites, to take a 1-0 lead in this game. He's got one dart at double 16 for a 1-0 lead. And a 1-0 lead he'll get. And Peter Wright takes the lead in this game. Dad's asking which darts he's Wright using. Any idea, Josh? I will have to have a look in a second and see what darts he is using tonight. Let's have a look. Let's have a gander. Let's see what darts he's using. It's definitely not the springy ones. Ooh. I don't think I've seen those before. I don't think I've seen those before. I mean, I don't think I've seen those ones. I'm not going to lie. Somebody else will know a little bit more than me. As I said, I'm not the savvy Peter Wright. Kind of don't really know the knowledge of what darts he uses. I know obviously he tends to kind of flick between them all the time, but I don't think I've seen those ones before. But Nathan Aspinall at 265 here. Peter Wright at 410. Going to get 140. So he's down to 270 here, right? With the Asp at 265. And I wonder if maybe we go the same way in this game. You know, we've had 2 games tonight where ultimately the opposition player has absolutely rattled in 4 or 5 legs and then found himself into a little bit of a comfortable position. But I don't think we're going to get that in this game because Aspinall's at 170. Peter Wright at 149. We haven't had a 170 taken out in the competition and we still won't. And maybe a chance here for Peter Wright to check out 149. Aspinall back at 74. So treble 20, treble 19, double 16 needed here for Peter Wright. Starts off with a 1, so we're not going to see any 149 check out here, sadly. And a chance for the Asp to make it 1 apiece in this game on treble 14, double 16. Can he do it? Starts off with treble 14, 2 darts at double 16, and he only needs... No, I thought we were going to say 1 dart there. He does need 2 darts. And it is 1-1. And a very good response there for Nathan, who makes it 1-1 in this game. And I think this will be the topsy-turvy match of the night. We saw in the early sections of Johnny Clayton against James Wade, that was a very topsy-turvy game for the first kind of 8 or 9 legs. But ultimately, Johnny Clayton was able to steamroll on and get the victory in that match. I don't think we're going to see the same here, if I'm honest with you. I've got a feeling this is going to be an 8-7. And it'll go to Peter Wright. Which is a very, very interesting punt. Maybe some of you will disagree. Maybe some of you will agree. We'll have to see. But a 140 here for the Asp. Still 1-0 to Chelsea, by the way, against Real Madrid. So Aspinall down to 302 here. Peter Wright at 278. If he can get himself a 140, I think here, he puts himself in a very good position to maybe get a little bit of a foothold in this third leg of the game, which he won't. He'll get 96 to leave 182, so he's not into checkout territory, which is a bit sad, which means here, if Aspinall can get a few trebles on the board, which he doesn't, and he only gets himself down to 210, and I feel that is a little bit of a wasted opportunity there for the Asp to maybe just get a little bit of a foothold and pressure Peter Wright early on in this game. And he doesn't. But Peter Wright only gets 60, so he's down to 122 with Aspinall at 210. So now a chance again here for Aspinall to just put a bit of pressure on Peter Wright if he can get a few trebles, which he doesn't, only gets 60. And again, it's another wasted opportunity. And it's a little bit of a sloppy phase of play here. Although saying that, chance to make it 2-1 here to Peter Wright. Got one dart at the bull, which he doesn't get. And he will be coming back for 33, unless Nathan Aspinall checks out the 150. Which he's not going to be able to. So Peter Wright will be coming back here with a chance to make it 2-1 in this game. He's going to have 2 darts at double 16. You would expect him to take it out. So he gets the 1 as you would expect. 2 darts at double 16. And he's actually hit the 7. Which means he's not going to be able to check out. And a chance now for Nathan Aspinall to break Peter Wright's throw on 92. But what's Peter Wright going to leave himself on here? He'll go for 3, so he leaves himself 22. And that is a costly mistake, potentially, for Peter Wright. If Aspinall can check this out. Which he's not going to be able to. So Peter Wright let off the hook here. And a chance at double 11 for Peter Wright to make it 2-1 in this game and have a let-off, which he is. And that's a very big let-off, you've got to say, for Peter Wright there. For a second, I thought the Asp was maybe going to be able to capitalise on that mistake, but he doesn't. And Peter Wright, for a second there, is let off the hook. But can Asp here get a 180 to start? He can't, but he's down to 362 with his first 3 darts in hand. As Des says, it's Russ the Ref. It is indeed. It is indeed. But, I mean, it's not a great start to the game, this one, is it? Oh, it's making me yawn. I mean, Aspinall right now averaging 80 in this game. Peter Wright averaging 98. It is a very, very poor start. And we said before, when these two played in the previous match, they were averaging around about 100, 105 for large parts of the game. And then I think at the end, it just curtailed off a little bit, which is why the averages decreased. But here, it's quite the opposite. Nathan Aspinall averaging under 80, although he's got a chance for a 180 here, and that might be the perfect way to change your 80 average. It's the second 180 of the game, and he's down to 85 here. And if he can keep himself in touching distance of Peter Wright, by just getting himself a few 180s and trebles on the board, then I don't think Aspinall will really care if he plays poor tonight. So he's got 2 darts here. He's going to go and leave, actually, I think he's left 41, knowing that Peter Wright is back at 261. So he's not going for the checkout, which is an interesting shout from Nathan Aspinall. So he's going to have 2 darts here with double 16 now. And this will be a big moment in the match, you feel, if he can make it 2 apiece, in the game. Which he does, 2-2. And that just gives him a little bit of confidence booster. He needs to gear himself up. We know what he's like. He's got to fire himself up. We know it's all about the belief and the confidence in himself. And more importantly, specifically for Aspinall, it's all about momentum and drive. He likes to gear himself up. And when the crowd come back, I think that will be another thing that gears him up massively. Having the fans on his back, cheering, celebrating, booing when he misses certain darts. As Ben's in the stream. How are you doing, my friend? Hope you're all well. Hope you are doing fantastic. Good to see you in as always. It's nice to have the darts family back again. It feels like a long time. I tell you, in these COVID times, 2 weeks of no darts feels like an eternity. So it's good to have it back for a few days before another break. Unbelievable. So Aspinall here at 305. Peter Wright at 278. I've got a really itchy nose, and I honestly don't know why. It's so itchy. I apologise. As Peter Wright smacks in a 180, and that's the third of the game. And the second Peter. And this will be a chance now for Wright to take a lead in this game again. Make it 3-2. He's at 98. Nathan Aspinall all the way back at 208. So he's going to have at least 6 darts here to check out the 98. He gets 20 to start, which means he needs treble 18 for double 12. Which he's not going to get. But he will leave himself at tops. So the snake bite will be coming back. But can the Asp put him under some pressure? The answer is no pressure whatsoever. 100 to leave 108 isn't a great deal of pressure in my opinion. So tops here for a 3-2 lead. 2 darts to double 10. And he's hit double 15. Well, that's the second time now where Peter Wright has hit another bed that he didn't want. And now Aspinall has got to capitalise on this, you feel. Gets 2 19s. So he's not going to be able to check out. And again, Peter Wright let off the hook here, especially if he hits tops. Which you would expect him to. And can he check out? Yes, he can. And it's twice now where Peter Wright has been let off the hook in this game. And Nathan Aspinall, who could have arguably have had 2 legs here in this match, had he have not allowed Wright to make up for his mistakes, he could have potentially been 4-1 up in this match. But that's the difference in this game. Capitalising on those moments where your opponent makes a mistake, which Aspinall didn't do at all. So 3-2 here. There's 78 of you in the building. Thanks for all of you for joining. Hope you're enjoying so far. Last game of the night, sadly. Hopefully we do get some late drama in this one. Because if Peter Wright does win, then my lord, this Premier League table is completely wide open. Which I think is what we all expected. We all kind of expected this Premier League season to not be not an open one. Do you know what I mean? In terms of the gap between players, it was always going to be tight, and that's exactly what we're getting. And if Peter Wright does win tonight, it opens a massive, massive opportunity for the likes of Jose de Sousa and James Wade to get back into the race, and of course, more importantly, for MVG and for Dimitri Vandenberg, an opportunity for them to go top, because we could actually see MVG go top tonight. It all depends on what Peter Wright does here. If Wright can win by more than 3 legs, then MVG will go to the top of the table. Big moments. As Aspinall hits 120 to leave 184, probably would have had a 180 if his second dart didn't fall out of the board. And you just feel there is some real pressure on both of these players this evening. We always say, you know, in the Premier League, when it's usually every Thursday night, it's about a sense of consistency. With the way that it's been this season with COVID, it's not consistency, it's form. You have to go into this with form. And a little bit of consistency, of course. You know, it doesn't matter if it's played every week or every day. You've got to have some consistency on the table, but form is paramount. And James Wade was the perfect example of a player who was on fine form. Ultimately, got himself 3-4 games with draws and wins, which allowed him to be able to go on and get himself up the table. But Piers has asked, what is the table looking like, Josh, right now? I haven't got the table up, but I can tell you, the table right now is first is Nathan Aspinall on 13 points. Second is Michael van Gerwen on 13 points. Third is Dimitri Vandenberg on 13 points. Fourth is Johnny Clayton on 12 points. Fifth is Jose de Sousa, I think, on 11 points. Sixth is James Wade on 10 points. So that's how it's looking right now. As Peter Wright takes a 4-2 lead in this game. Checks out double 16 on double 4. And this is not a good performance from Nathan Aspinall. And he's really giving an opportunity here for Peter Wright to get himself a bit of an advantage to get back into the table. Because let's not forget, if Peter Wright wins tonight, he's also up to 11 points. And Nathan Aspinall, depending on how much Wright wins this game, might not be top. Might not even be second. Could go into third, depending on what happens here. Ultimately, I think for Aspinall to go into third, I think Pete Wright would need to win every leg for the rest of the game. Which is plausible with how Aspinall is playing. But you never know. You never know. Because Aspinall here, in a game where ultimately he's not playing nowhere near good enough to get something, he's still somehow only 2 legs behind Peter Wright. And could have arguably had some daylight had he have made Peter Wright's poor mistakes be capitalised upon. Which he didn't. So it could have been a very different story. But ultimately, in the end, I think Peter Wright here, he's probably got it in the bag unless Nathan Aspinall changes his game up quick. And if you're MVG and Vandenberg, specifically Vandenberg, you're thinking, whew, I've been let off the hook tonight with that loss. Massively let off the hook. So Peter Wright gets himself down to 120 here. Aspinall at 201, a little bit of an opportunity maybe for Aspinall to get a bit of an advantage. He gets 140, chance to go for 180. He'll go down for 19. So 177 for Aspinall, leaves himself down at double 12. Peter Wright going to have to check out the 120, which he's not going to be able to do. So Aspinall coming back here to make it 4-3 in this game and somehow only be a leg away from Peter Wright. He's going to have to dig in deep tonight. And he digs in deep. It's 4-3. And here we go. He's gearing himself up now. You could hear that. And he's literally, you could hear him say, wake up. And he needs to in this game. Because he knows that if he doesn't wake up soon in this match, Peter Wright is going to take it away. And that's why I like tonight. Why they've got the crowd sound a little bit lower. It's very nice to actually hear what the players are saying. Because, of course, when the crowd sounds very loud, you don't actually get to hear what they're saying. But you can actually hear tonight Aspinall what he's saying to himself. And you can see he's just not got the... It's not that he's not got the drive. I just think he hasn't got the... I'm trying to think of the word off the top of my head. The momentum, I guess, is probably the word that's best. He's always based himself on not confidence. I'm trying to think of the word. Somebody will know it in the chat. Motivation, maybe. He likes to scream, shout, pump himself up. He needs a lot of energy in the veins. And right now, both players are playing really bad. 91 average for Peter Wright. An 89 average for Nathan Aspinall. It is not a good game to watch. You know, this will not go down as a classic by any shapes. But a chance here maybe for a 180 for Peter Wright, which he doesn't get. He'll get a 140 to leave 140. But the Aspi with a chance to check out 164, which he's not going to be able to do here. But he might be able to leave himself on a good finish. And he leaves himself, I believe, at 70... I think he's left himself at 73. Yeah. So 73 for Wright. Sorry, 73 for Aspinall. Can Peter Wright check out the 140? He's not going to be able to here. So Aspinall coming back at 73. Treble 19, double 8 to make it 4-4 in this game. And just keep this game rocking on a little bit. Starts off with a treble 7, which could be a happy little accident because he's going to have one dart here at double 16. And he doesn't get it. He hits 8 instead. Which might not be a bad mistake, but if Peter Wright checks out 97 here, he's going to be kicking himself. Because he will be coming back at double 12 if not. So, one dart here. No, Peter Wright's not going to be able to check out. Went for the double 19, which he couldn't get. So, double 12 needed for Nathan Aspinall to make it 4-4 in this game. Which he does. And there is some motivation for the Asp, because he's now on par in this match against Peter Wright. And could this maybe be an opportunity for Nathan Aspinall to just start swinging this game his way, because Peter Wright has just dwindled a little bit as this game has continued on, and you just feel like maybe there's a little bit of an opportunity. Wow, he's got a chance to maybe take Peter Wright over here. You'll have to see. You'll have to see. You'll have to find out indeed. I mean, I've literally just checked the chat of the Premier League, and Tubbs says apparently he's roasting me. If you're in the building, Tubbs, you haven't roasted anything because I'm not reading your comments out. Darts tonight, not football. No, I'm joking. Chance for 180 here for Aspinall, gets a 140. So he's down to 301. Peter Wright here really needs a few trebles. He's back at 320 here. If he does not get a treble on the board, I think he's fucked in this leg. And he's not. He's got 60. So really good opportunity now for Nathan Aspinall to capitalise if he can get a 140 or a 180, he might be able to go 5-4 up. He gets the 140, and that is a big moment in the game, you feel. Because Aspinall now with an opportunity in this match to maybe get himself 5-4 up in this game. And P. Wright, he'll get 100 to leave 160. With Aspinall at 161. So treble 20 needed. Treble 17. For the bull for a 161. Oh, that's brilliant. And is that the turning point in this game for Nathan Aspinall? 161. Brilliant darts from the Asp. And that could be the turning point in this clash between Peter Wright and Nathan Aspinall. That is fantastic from Nathan. And we've said before, it's all about motivation for Asp. He loves to gear himself up. And that is certainly the perfect way to get yourself moving. And then you can see, yeah, Peter Wright, I think he has changed it up a little bit here with his darts. He just doesn't seem to be able to get anything going here. And you feel like now that there is a real opportunity for the Asp to maybe take this game away from Wright. And he's got a chance here for a 180, which is what he gets. And this is what we expect from Nathan as we have the 4th 180 of this match tonight. And it's brilliant to see. And I tell you something, he was averaging 80 in like the first 3 or 4 legs, and he couldn't break away from Nathan Aspinall, Peter Wright. But now he's averaging 93, which isn't, of course, high. But it is slowly moving up as this game continues on. And if he can maybe get himself up to 2 legs here, make it 6-4, then you just feel like for a second here that Peter Wright could have this game run away from him. And it'd be another big opportunity where the Premier League table could have opened up, and it hasn't. Big moments. So 1-2-1 check out here. He's not going to be able to get it, which means there'll be a little bit of an opportunity for Peter Wright just to try and get a 180 on the board, which would, I think, just get him into check-out territory, but he's not going to get it in the end. And Aspinall will be coming back. So treble 17, which he gets for double 16. 1 dart in hand to make it 6-4, and he gets it. He's 6-4 in this game, and you feel now that there is a chance for the Asp to take this game away. He's only 1 leg from a guaranteed point on the board in this fixture. As for Peter Wright, he finds himself running the risk of maybe starting to dwindle away from the top 4. Like Gary Anderson, he's been struggling in this Premier League so far, and you don't want to be starting off the week's action with a defeat on the board, because as it stands, Nathan Aspinall is now up to plus 18 legs difference. And of course, if he wins tonight, he will have a 4-point gap over the rest of the pack. Jose de Sousa in 5th on 11 points. Peter Wright is currently sat in 7th on 9 points. And it's not good for him at all with the way that this game has been going. But can Peter Wright maybe get a leg back on the board here? As a brilliant 140 for the Asp. Just keeps himself just close. Maybe not close enough to Peter Wright. But Peter Wright here needs a 180 on the board. And he gets a 140 to leave 121. Aspinall back at 316. Has to match him with a 140 minimum, which he's not going to be able to. And there's a real chance here now for Peter Wright to maybe make it 6-5. Apologies about that. So he can lay the shot out here. He's not going to go for the 1-2-1 as you'd expect with Aspinall back at 259. So he's going to be able to just lay out the opportunity, which he leaves 56, Peter Wright. Aspinall back at 259. Can he get a 180 here? This would be massive if he gets a 180. And he does. Oh, how about that for timing? 180 for the Asp. That is brilliant. So Peter Wright here has got to check out here on tops. Or else Aspinall has a chance to make it 7-4. He's got 1 dart in hand at tops Peter Wright. And he hits 20. And a chance here for Aspinall to make it 7-4 in this game. From a leg which looked like he wasn't going to get anything. Gets 19. So he's going to have potentially 1 dart at tops. And he doesn't get it. And Peter Wright will be coming back here with 3 darts at double 10 for 6-5. And a chance to get himself back in this game. He hits 10. And he's hit 5, so he will not get it. And Nathan Aspinall will be coming back at tops for 7-4. And what an opportunity this is. Which he takes. It's 7-4 and it's a guaranteed point for the league leader. And now Peter Wright is going to have to win 3 legs on the bounce, or else Nathan Aspinall will be getting a very comfortable lead at the top of the table. And on a night where he's not really played very well, Nathan, he has dug deep. And that's the important thing. He's in control of this game towards the latter stages of the back end of this match. And look, it will not go down as a very enjoyable game to watch or a classic. But if he can come out here with 2 points on the board, he will not care that he's played under par. Because it will be a big, big moment. But Peter Wright responds with a 180 in the 12th leg of the game to start. As Niek says, come on, Wright. He wants Peter to get something in this game. I see you're an FC Groningen fan. He's put go, Wright. Hoping he can get something in this game. That is the question, though. Can he get something here? We'll have to find out. So, no 9-darter opportunity for Peter Wright. Which doesn't matter. I don't think we're ever going to get one tonight. I've got a feeling we're going to get a 9-darter on Friday. I'm not going to say who, but I'm guessing. Oh, a chance here for 180, maybe for Nathan Aspinall. That would be a real dampener to Wright's party as he tries to get a leg back, which he doesn't. So 125 for Aspinall. Just leaves him at 251. And Peter Wright gets himself down to 170. So he is in checkout territory here. And I mean, if he was to get the 170 to make it 7-5, that'd be brilliant. But what pressure is he going to be under? The answer is a little bit. As Nathan Aspinall gets 111. Jake says he needs Aspie to win for 110 quid. Who have you put on your bet tonight? Because my bet died before the night even fucking started. Cheers, James Wade. In fact, yeah, I needed James Wade to hit 3 180s. And he didn't. Cheers, lad. But chance here at the 111, which he's not going to be able to check out Nathan Aspinall. So Peter Wright will be coming back here at 110. Aspinall leaves himself at 74. And that's a real mistake there from Nathan, I feel. And it might just allow Peter Wright the opportunity now to check out the 110. Which he's not going to be able to do. So Aspinall will be coming back here at 74. Treble 14, double 16 needed. And Jake went for all the favourites tonight. And fair play, I'm guessing you went Clayton, de Sousa, Van Gerwen and Aspinall for 110. That's not bad, that. I'm guessing you put a tenner on? Or a fiver? Which is not bad. So one match start has gone there for Nathan Aspinall, which means a chance here, double 10 for Peter Wright to make it 7-5 and just extend this game a little bit longer for the Asp. First dart hits 10. Really needs to make sure he doesn't hit 5 this time. It's a good marker that actually with his second dart. And a good marker it is indeed because it is 7-5 in this game. And Nathan Aspinall's game will be going on a little bit longer here as Peter Wright looks to claw a few legs back on the board. The real question is, can he get a point in this game? Or will Nathan Aspinall be able to take on the victory here? I think Jake tonight, I went a match treble. I went match treble on James Wade, Van Gerwen and Aspinall. So James Wade fucked me on that one. Cheers, James Wade. And then I had, it was one where it was like 10 plus, 100 plus checkouts tonight. I don't think we had it, to be honest. Every player hit 3 180s, which numerous players messed up on that. And then it was MVG and Wade to win. That was 250 to 1. Put £2.50 on it. James Wade messed that up. And Gary Anderson, I think, as well. Cheers, Gary. Well, Pete Wright right now sat in 7th place on 9 points. As Nathan Aspinall smacks in a 180. And he's down to 225. Peter Wright at 306. That's the 7th 180 of this match. Which I tell you what, you wouldn't be able to tell there's been 7 180s in this game. As Peter Nunn says, good luck. Good luck, Jake, of course. You really want it. You really want to see the bookies lose money tonight. Let's hope he can go out there and win it. And I tell you something, he's on for a 180, Jake. And he gets the 180. And he's down to 45. Peter Wright at 246. 8 180s in the match. And I tell you something, Jake, you might be on course here to get yourself 110 quid in the bank. Because he's got 2 darts here at double 16 to end the game for an 8-5 win to stay at the top of the table with a 4-point gap. And he does it. And Nathan Aspinall takes an 8-5 victory. And look, it wasn't the most captivating game in the world, if we're being honest with you. But at the end of the day, Nathan Aspinall, he dug deep in this match. And he gets a result in the end. And he stays at the top of the table and now has a 4-point gap over the top 4. And well done, of course, to Jake for winning himself some cash there. Good to see the bookies getting rinsed tonight, no doubt, with all of the favourites. But I tell you something, terrible performance tonight from Peter Wright. Did not play well at all. Really, really poor performance. And you just feel, to be honest with you, that at the end of the day, he's got to really put in some good performances the next few days. Or again, just like Gary Anderson, he might find himself out of the Premier League before it's even got towards the final week. But yeah, what a result for him. I mean, when you actually look at the stats of the game, which we'll talk through now, 88.52 average tonight for Peter Wright with a 93.32 average for Nathan Aspinall. It wasn't a great performance, was it, from either player? But ultimately, at the end of the day, it was a very good performance for Aspinall to just go out there and get something. And then also, as you can see, checkouts-wise, 57.14% checkout for Aspinall. Much better than the 27% tonight for Peter Wright. Really poor performance. Apparently, 2-0 as well to Chelsea. Chelsea through to the Champions League final. Wow. Who would have thought Chelsea would have made it? Incredible. And then as you can see, 5 180s for the Asp. 3 180s for Peter Wright. A really good performance in the end. And a fair play to him. It wasn't a good performance. It wasn't a very good performance. It was a good performance in the case of he dug deep. He got the result he needed. And ultimately, in the end, he goes out there, gets that victory. And he finds himself at a very comfortable lead at the top of the table. And a really decent night of performances. You know, I was worried a little bit that some of these players tonight were going to go out there, play a little bit lackadaisical. And some of them did. I think Peter Wright played poor tonight. Gary Anderson played poor tonight. James Wade played poor tonight. But in the end, Clayton, Anderson, both Vandenberg and Van Gerwen played well. And fair play to them. Really good performances tonight. And of course, we have got plenty more games to come over the next few days. We know we've got action tomorrow night and on Friday night. So the real question is, what games have we still got to come, especially tomorrow? And I can tell you, my friends, what games we've got to come, because this is night 11 of the Premier League of Darts. We start off with a game between Nathan Aspinall and Dimitri Vandenberg. That is the opening game tomorrow. That should be an absolute corker of a match. Both players, of course, towards the top end of the table. If Nathan Aspinall wins tomorrow, my lord, he might be finding himself in the top 4 quicker than we know it. So that's game number 1 tomorrow. That's going to be the match of the night. Game number 2 sees James Wade up against Jose de Sousa. Both of these players outside of the top 4. They do desperately need to go out there and get some points, especially with the fact that they are fighting for that top 4. If they don't get points, then I think some of those will be looking a little bit out of the equation. Match number 3 sees another 2 struggling players. Gary Anderson taking on Peter Wright. Again, these 2 need results on the board. The real question is, who will get a result on the night? Could Gary Anderson maybe be out of the race for the top 4? We'll have to see. Match 4, another brilliant game. This will be Van Gerwen against Johnny Clayton. Both players fighting for the top 4 spots. Will MVG continue in style, or will Johnny Clayton get another win over MVG? Let's not forget, he beat him last time. And he beat him at the Masters. And then last game of the night finishes off. Well, there isn't any of the games on the night because there's only 4 games. But that is all of the action in the Premier League of Darts this evening. It's been a very, very good night of action overall. Don't forget, if you are new to the channel and you have enjoyed the stream tonight, please do leave a like and subscription. It is greatly, greatly appreciated. We have got more content to come on the channel over the next few days. This is what's to come on the channel. Don't forget, Rowan is still live with Chelsea versus Real Madrid. As it stands, Chelsea 2-0 up in that game. So go over to Rowan and say a quick hi before his stream finishes. We'll be back tomorrow night with the darts from 7:05, night 11. Should be a very good night indeed, with that first match being a corker. We've got the Europa League semi-finals goals show taking place at the same time. That'll be live from 7:50, covering the 2 semi-finals, which includes Arsenal against Villarreal. And then Saturday, up the Millers, they're staying up. Cardiff v Rotherham and Derby versus Wednesday for one of the best championship final days of this decade. And then Saturday continues with Bundesliga action. Dortmund-Leipzig from 2 with Rowan. And then straight afterwards, we'll have Bayern Munich taking on Gladbach. That is live with KL from 5:25. It should be a brilliant, brilliant Saturday. Lots of drama to come, not just from the Bundesliga, but from the Championship. Up Rotherham United, we are staying up, hopefully. Fingers crossed, probably not. But otherwise, that is it for tonight's action. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. As I said, as always, don't forget to leave a like and a subscription if you are new to the stream, as always. But as for now, we will be back tomorrow night from 5:07 UK time. Do not miss out on it, because we've got some brilliant games. What a game to start tomorrow night. It's Vandenberg against Nathan Aspinall. You do not want to miss out on that. Otherwise, for now, if you want to check out our social media and take part in our Super 6, don't forget you can win £25 cash every single day of the Premier League of Darts. You can enter the tournament before the night has even begun. Check out our social media. Check out our Twitter, which is @the_top corner. We tweet out our Super 6 in the afternoon. So if you want to put in your predictions early, then I would recommend going and checking that out. You can also check out our website as well, which is the sports-corner.com. We've got new articles available. So if you're a big NFL fan, we've got a lot of articles available right now based on the draft, which just recently took place last weekend. But as for now, I hope you guys have a fantastic morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you are. And we will see you again tomorrow night for more darting action. Good night.